All right, we're starting. No intro video tonight. We're in mourning. I have to do this particular edition of the show sitting up at the front of my chair because if I lean back, I'm going out the window into the city. So that's a big rip back here to Mr. Chair. Pretty sad. You know, I actually had at one point in time two different office chairs. One was actually from my old printing company that was really old and really a POS. And I replaced that chair with this one back in like, gosh, I don't know, like 20, 2014, 2015. And got it down in Florida, took it with me for many, many years, all the way up to today. And today, this whole thing just ripped apart. I have it kind of. Oh, I literally pointed at it and a screw came out. Oh man, it's decomposing. Oh, that's not good. Anyways, guys, welcome back to another edition of It's Way Too Late with Alan Mosley, the Thursday night live stream coming to you at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. I thought what we might do this evening, at least before the chair died, is we would we would do a stream to make up for Monday a little bit. So normally on Monday nights we have the It's Too Late community live stream. But this past Monday, we had a very, very, very special guest who was uh, the official fiance of It's Too Late. I mean, you might as well say wife. We've been together like a bajillion years. Anna Kay was here, and everybody got to meet her. It was a lot of fun. I think for the most part, everybody behaved. And she is going to be back this coming Monday. And then I realized this coming Monday is Valentine's Day. And so I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that we're going to have a crossover event Monday night for the It's Too Late community live stream. We're going to have Annika and I are going to be back on, and we're going to be joined by Dave and Mary. And I don't know what I don't know what we're doing after that. I think we're just going to physically be on at the same time. And then just kind of figure it out from there. Yeah, Derek TV says you're not supposed to invite the good ladies around libertarians. I mean, I don't even use that word anymore, really. So, it's kind of where I'm at. Better have two proper chairs for that. Well, this past Monday we used this chair as number one. And my exercise bike was actually the chair that I was in. I had my exercise bike pulled over to the desk at an angle so I could sit catty corner to the desk on my exercise bike. I don't know what we're doing next week because I'm probably not going to have a new chair until at the earliest Wednesday, which means on Wednesday I'm going to be out here on the floor with my little Allen wrenches and my screwdrivers, putting together a new chair. And then this will actually probably end up being the secondary chair, at least temporarily. I wish I had. I don't have any more furniture in the studio. So Liberty Late Night says, I didn't know you were serious about the bike. Yeah, I was very serious about. Look, dude, this is for you, buddy. We're taking a break from the live program to send you a picture because it's still over here by the desk. All right, there we go. That is what I sat on. And I will send this to you. Swole Keesley says, "Screw your chair." Aaron, go ahead and hit that one. Hit that one with the fat hammer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we got to get donations tonight to pay for the new chair. Derek says, still going with antique wooden chair. I don't want to have the gamer spaceship one. I'm not, this isn't a gamer chair, nor am I purchasing a gamer chair. That's not really me. So, I think this is technically called like a manager chair or something like that, because there's like executive chairs that are a little bit higher back and all that. I love this chair, and that's why I kept it for so freaking long, despite it looking a little ratty. But now it's beyond repair, unfortunately. So I found a replacement, and it's on its way. But it's going to be middle of next week at the earliest, and we have to cross our fingers that we can get this thing together by the Wednesday show. I don't know what we're doing on Monday. Monday is going to be a big old yikes. So we'll just have to see. So anyway, I don't want to spend all night talking about the chair, other than the fact that we gotta raise that money. Yeah, I know. So people have already noticed. I've got the nice little logos over here instead of just a big wall of text where the donations go. I guess I don't have to have the words donation tracker there, do I? Like, people can understand what it means. I don't know. Gamer chairs are a scam anyway. Well, I just don't like the fact that they all come with a huge, a huge like pillow thing right here, and then another huge one down like at the bottom of your back. But I don't want all that crap. So anyway, I'm here, but my kids are talking at me. They're not talking to you. They're talking at you. That's nice. I'm glad everyone could spend some time together. Uh, yeah. Yeah. Hello, all the littles. Yes, at. So anyway, one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight was my griping about the new Lord of the Rings series that's coming out on Amazon Prime. But before we get to that, I want to talk about what I just saw in the news right before we were getting ready to start tonight, which was now everyone might be familiar about with the trucker protest going on in Ottawa, Canada. And then you might be familiar with how they had raised millions and millions of dollars on GoFundMe to help fund the protesters. And then GoFundMe, as a true governmentality would, as an extension of the state, they froze the fundraiser. They froze those assets, and then they were going to just give them away to another charity, and then that caused a huge stink. So then they just were just going to start refunding the donations. But ultimately, the main thing being is that they froze the fundraiser. And then a competing site to GoFundMe called Go Send Give, I think that's the name of it. It's like a Christian-based like alternative to GoFundMe. They then took on the fundraiser and said, "Okay, we're going to raise the money." And they had already raised something like 6 or 8 million new more dollars on their fundraiser for the protesters. And then just this afternoon, a court in Ottawa issued an injunction to freeze the funds from Give, Send, whatever the hell it is. It's another one of those. But what's interesting about this is that so a judge in Ottawa said, "Oh no, 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 these new funds are now also frozen." But the company is an American company, and they're not beholden to some judge in Ottawa. And the company said, actually, no, those funds aren't frozen, and we're going to send them to wherever the fundraiser organizers say they're going to go. And, you can suck a mean old dick. I don't think that those were their real words, but I can read this for you. Read you what their statement was here. See if I can go find this again really quick. Oh, look, it's me on the Twitter pages. That's neat. It's like going to take me a million. Oh, there it is. Give, Send, Go. So Give, Send, Go said, "Know this. Canada has absolutely zero jurisdiction over how we manage our funds here at Give, Send, Go. All funds for every campaign on Give, Send, Go flow directly to the recipients of those campaigns, not least of which is the Freedom Convoy campaign." So there you go. Um, so that's the company chiming in saying, we don't give a damn what you say about our funds being like, you don't control our funds and you don't have any jurisdiction over our company, therefore we're going to do what we want with the money. um that's a really interesting impasse. It's nice to see the company stand up and say that they're not going to cave to that kind of pressure, and just what are you going to do about it? um but on the other hand, I saw a lot of people when the whole GoFundMe thing went down saying, well, they really ought to be looking into cryptocurrency. They ought to be looking at Bitcoin, because all the Bitcoin maxis out there are saying, Bitcoin solves this problem, right? Um, don't leave it up to cash. Don't leave it up to banks, because there could be some kind of an injunction like the one that took place. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Not really sure what's going to happen there. Um, yeah, Fact check this says primary interaction on Twitch, huh? I'm at work, so I'm stuck on YouTube. Well, I can still see you, so I'll still talk to you too. Um, yeah. So anyway, I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. I will say this: some people have made the observation that if if they play hardball and try to resort to some kind of tactics to stop Give Sin Go, then what the company should do is convert the donations into crypto and then forward it to the recipients, or work with the recipients to set up a wallet where they can, get on an exchange and swap those things out, just to try to make it extra less likely that the Canadian authorities can do anything about it. Um, but on top of that, you also see all these videos coming out, like every single night. You see these videos coming out on social media of the Ottawa police, which are just the jackboots of Justin Trudeau, um, just stealing property from protesters, stealing gas, stealing firewood, stealing food, stealing water. And I use the word stealing because stealing is the correct word to use, because the law is actually quite clear. If they don't have, if they don't have a warrant and don't have probable cause, the media tries so desperately to paint the protesters as radical right wingers who are going to destroy the town and are going to be violent. But that's just simply not true. I mean, it's such a wonderful thing that we live in the age of social media, in the age of smartphones, because any pure propaganda that comes out of the regime press can immediately be discarded as false when you see hundreds of examples counter to their narrative in real time on social media platforms. Like every minute you can go check and see that what they're saying is just factually incorrect. Yeah, Corey says even if they drop the mass stuff, they got a good 2 years and like 10 trillion out of it, and they'll be on to the next tyranny. Well, that's kind of the rub, isn't it? Is there are those out there that I know that where their headspace has been on this whole thing for 2+ years now has been, let's not consume ourselves so much with this one particular case of authoritarianism. Let's look at the big picture. And the big picture is they're just testing. They're testing to see how far they can push and what they can get away with. Is the trucker protest great? Of course it is. But it started like what, a couple of weeks ago? This thing's been going on for years at this point. So at a minimum, they've learned, as it pertains to the freedom convoys, that is there a point that people can be pushed and them start rabble rousing? Yes. But where is that point? Is that point, 6 weeks after a quote unquote emergency? No. Is it months? Is it 3 months later? No. Is it 6 months later? No. Is it a year later? No. Is it 2 years later? No. It's after that even. It's after that even before people finally grow a spine and just say, well, I'm just going to ignore your dictates, and if you refuse to allow us to conduct ourselves, then we'll just block the roads and refuse to ship anything and, bring the economy to its knees. It's so funny though, isn't it, that there's a certain irony to Trudeau and his ilk saying, this protest really needs to stop because they're shutting things down. And without even an ounce of self-reflection on who's really been responsible for shutting shit down for the last couple of years. It's just amazing that they would use that language. And by the way, that's calculated. They don't use that kind of language because they don't get the irony. They totally get it. They want to shift the narrative to be, well, look, guys, we don't really want to have we don't want to have a bad economy and things to be shut down. You know whose fault it is? It's these damn people who want freedom. Those are the ones that are making the economy bad, y'all. Y'all should let's all kumbaya and say that the protesters are the bad guys here. They specifically use that language because they want people to turn on the protesters rather than recognize why they're protesting and how it got to this point. Yeah, Aaron's right. They know how far they can push. Next time they'll push a little bit further. Correct. That's exactly what's going to happen. A lot of very bad people have gotten a lot of good information about how much people will take. Correct. That's exactly what's happened. Oh, I missed one. Shit. We got our first donation of this evening. Uh, is this something I can easily update now? I've changed everything. Dadgummit. All right, I think I got it. Yes. All right, that actually worked. Cool. That is $10 from Aaron Kentner that says, towards a new chair, Rippy chair. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I actually had searched, a couple of years ago, I needed a new chair, and I had looked for this chair. I didn't want another chair. I just wanted a new out of the box of this chair and could not find it. And I just went on with this one. A year later, I searched again, couldn't find it, went on with this one. So looked at some different chairs, looking at the price tags, trying to find one that has quite this design, couldn't find it. And now, with my back against the wall, because this thing is literally dead, I finally found the same model of chair as this. So the chair's on its way. It's going to be here middle of next week. And now I have to figure out how to pay for it. So we'll figure out a way to raise money for the new chair. So anyway, where's my little copy pasta? There it is. Yeah. Well, there's those links right there. I don't know why it didn't send to Twitch, but Aaron's got that under control. But anyway, have you tried pulling an Adidas? I have not. Can you sell your bathwater? Annika could probably get away with that. I don't think that's in the cards for me, though. Yeah, you can get the PewDiePie chair for $4.99. It's a great price, and it lights up. Yeah. Yeah, you know it. But no. These politicians piss on your head and tell you it's raining. True facts. Yeah. Why would you buy the same chair if you know it's just going to fall apart? This chair's like almost 10 years old after a lot of heavy use, and it fell apart. So that's pretty freaking good. You think Lyle was making an offer? Yeah, we'll look in on that bathwater situation. Yeah. Woman walked in and saw my monitor and asked why I'm watching this fuck again. Because this is the best goddamn show in the world. In the world. Yeah, 10 years is a lot of fart punishment. Yeah, that's very true. This chair lasted a long time, and I like this chair. That was the problem. All right. So anyway, what are we doing? Where are we at? So as I referenced at the top of the stream, we didn't really get to do a normal It's Too Late community live stream this week on Monday night because it sort of got turned into the It's Too Late Annika stream, which we're going to do again on Monday with Dave and Mary. But since we didn't get to do an It's Too Late community live stream, I thought that we would sort of hijack It's Way Too Late, and instead of me ranting for a couple hours about whatever's on my mind or having a single guest, I thought that we would kind of turn this into a makeup of the community stream. So if there's anybody out there that is a member of our private Facebook group that wants to join the stream, say hello, talk about what's on your mind, what's going on in the world, whatever, just let me know. You're more than welcome to do so. But until then, you says, Fact check this says you have the best late night show. I have the best morning show. You have to have the best morning show because I don't get up in the morning. Morning, nah. I can't ever be on your morning show because I, you know, it's a Herculean effort for me to go to bed at night and wake up in the morning. So I'm gonna stick to doing the nightcap. You might try mugging for a side gig, but like a nice mugger. Just give me what you can afford. You know, that actually reminds me of a story that I had for story time with Uncle Alan that I totally forgot to do a few weeks ago and then spaced it and then we never did it. It might have been that I had like a donation incentive to do a new story time with Uncle Alan and we didn't hit the incentive, so I just didn't do it. I think that's what we're going to have to do. But I think Ryan, if Ryan is still good, I think it's $50 to get Ryan to eat mayonnaise and jelly sandwiches, and it's $100 for me to chug the Blood Orange Ghost from Tennessee Hot Sauce Company. It's very problematic. And we'll say 75 in the middle there is a new story time with Uncle Alan. But it is related to what you were saying about mugging and just paying what you can afford. So I'll leave that as a little teaser right there. So anyway, are any of you guys like Lord of the Rings people? Like any of you guys Tolkien fans? I mean, I am. I'm a big Tolkien guy. Loved Lord of the Rings. Just, I mean, he's the standard bearer. I mean, he is the guy by which everything else is measured, and everything else comes in second place or less. It's funny. I remember seeing some random dick shitter on social media saying that he thought Lord of the Rings was stupid because the dwarves and elves looked so stereotypically dwarvish and elvish. To which people replied, "Well, he kind of came up with that. That was kind of like his contribution to the fantasy sphere. So why don't you just kill yourself?" Like, oh my god. All right. So anyway. There was something that I did want to share with you guys that I should have like pulled this up before we got to this point, but I'll see if I can do it now. So there's an article out in Vanity Fair today that's Amazon's Lord of the Rings series rises inside the Rings of Power. So that's what it's going to be called. It's Lord of the Rings of Power. And see, do a little window capture here. Call it LOTR. Yeah, there it is. Sweet. All right, cool. So I'm going to pull this down here. There we go. All right. So I want to run through this a little bit with you guys because it's just yikers. Just so that you'll kind of see my headspace of why I feel the way I feel about things. So anyway, Amazon's Lord of the Rings series rises inside the Rings of Power. So the first thing I want to start off with right off the bat is they're really painting Galadriel as kind of a major first person or major protagonist, you know, strong female character lead for the show being Galadriel. And Galadriel is important in the millennia before the Third Age, which is the period in time that you see in the Lord of the Rings movies, in the Lord of the Rings books, is the Third Age. And but you know, this is you know, whatever thousands of years before the events of Lord of the Rings. And they're making her out to be the main character. They're making her, it actually, let me see if I can like find the text here and be able to read it with my old man eyes. It says, Galadriel played by Morfydd Clark. Good God, who names their child that? Anyway, She's thousands of years younger, as angry and brash as she is clever, and certain that evil is looming closer than anyone realizes. Okay, so first of all, even in her youth, Galadriel was absolutely never described as angry and brash. That is they're trying to make her into like this coming of age tale that's just simply not true. But moving on, in the very early goings of the series, she's paired up with this human castaway named Halbrand. By the way, it says who is a new character introduced to the show. Now, I just want to I'm going to take a quick aside right there just to say really quickly. Imagine having the works of J.R.R. Tolkien. Imagine having the Silmarillion and his wealth of notes and his son that put everything together after his father's death. Imagine having all of that and then saying, this isn't enough, you guys. We need to be adding some characters that are more relatable to the audience. We have to, get ready for it. We have to add a modern progressive touch to this literature. You already see where this is going. So anyway, we're gonna get back to it here. So moving on, here's the next little shot of Galadriel. There she is, commander of the northern armies. There's Galadriel. So the next thing is that while Galadriel is certainly one of the most powerful elves in Middle-earth, she's not like a warrior princess. Again, they can't just let her be. They can't let the character stand on its own two legs. They can't allow the character to just simply represent itself. They have to make it into more. It has to be more. It has to be better. We have to prop up these characters that fit certain demographics. We have to prop them up to make them better. So anyways, scrolling down, it actually gets into a little bit talking about Amazon and Jeff Bezos. The Ring of Power is actually less of a financial risk than a reputational one. Amazon needs to definitively make the case that it can produce giant prestige shows. And with this series, it's courting the additional danger of amending and elaborating on the canon of a beloved storyteller. So again, why are you amending and elaborating on J.R.R. Tolkien? Are you trying to tell me that these dick shitter showrunners for Amazon, the kind of people who made Wheel of Time, if you've seen the first season of Wheel of Time that they've put on Amazon, as our friend Amanda Bowers put it, the Wheel of Woke, they absolutely murdered it. They absolutely murdered it. So the people who are making the Wheel of Woke, do you trust those people to amend and elaborate on the works of J.R.R. Tolkien because he couldn't do it enough? He couldn't do it on his own. This needs an extra touch by our super talented playwrights here in Hollywood. Jesus freaking Christ. All right, so anyway, we're going to move on here a little bit. Ignore that advertisement for Priyanka Chopra, although that's fantastic that that's there. They have that little quote there. Can you imagine going back to such a beloved world and facing the high bar of the Peter Jackson movies? We were, all the time, very aware of the massive expectations. By the way, the bar was set fairly high with Lord of the Rings. The bar absolutely hit the floor and plowed into the earth after the Hobbit films, but that's a different tale for a different time, right? Uh-oh, here you go. Let's mention COVID in the article. Blah, 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 blah. Within 45 minutes, word spread that in nearby Australia, Tom Hanks had contracted COVID, the NBA had canceled its season, and the World Health Organization declared a global pandemic. We're all just going, oh my God, what are we going to do? We're going to have to shut everything down. The panic metastasized, setting off other anxieties, big and small. So they delayed production because they're gay lords. All right, guys, before I scroll down another inch, I just want you to steel yourselves. All right? Get ready for what's coming. This is going to be bad. This is going to be real freaking bad. So remember how I said that they're going to take this classic tale written by one of the greatest authors, fantasy authors for sure, but authors of all time. All right. You've been warned, so we're going to move on. Here we go. It's time for some representation, y'all. Who's ready to be represented? Oh boy. These people hate you and hate your culture and hate your authors and hate the source material. They don't give a damn about you. All right, so anyway, got some representation on the screen. Let's figure out who those are. Of course, on the left you have Prince Durin IV, who's the Prince of Khazad-dûm, which is still Dwarven held when this show is taking place, way before the events of Lord of the Rings. In the middle there, you have the Dwarven Princess Disa, played by Sophia Nomvet, standing at Khazad-dûm's entrance. Okay, well that's really weird that she looks so much different than the other dwarves. I can't figure it out, you guys. And then, of course, there on the right, you have a Sylvan elf, Arondir, played by Ismael Cruz Cordova, is a character who's been created for the series. Oh, well, there you frickin' have it. So so now we got some black elves because we got to make some Sylvan elves black for some extra representation. I mean, technically, he's some kind of Latino or South American. And yeah, where's her beard? That's right. Dwarven women have beards. She doesn't have one. Fuck your couch. This ain't Lord of the Rings. All right. Anyway, but then on the right, you have the Sylvan. And again, I want to really drive that point home. That character's been created for the series. I'm going to take another quick break right there. Do you guys understand, right, that use a little Star Wars language, in the expanded universe of Middle-earth, using the thousands upon thousands of pages that Tolkien gave us, using the Silmarillion, there's hundreds or nay thousands of characters. This is a huge world with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of characters to go by. There's just no way you can translate to a series, a movie or TV series of any length, that you could possibly have that could cover all the theme and nuance and development and world building that exists in Middle-earth. And yet these dick shitters think, no, that's not good enough. Let's create some characters. Let's just make some of our own. All right. So anyway, let's scroll down a little bit further, shall we? So anyway, there's some more characters. There's them filming on a boat. Yeah, filming on a boat's really hard, you guys. I deserve to get paid all the money I make. Talks about readers being obsessed with the books as Tolkien moved on. After Tolkien's death, his son Christopher took the reins of the estate and was famously protective, if not intransigent, about adaptations of his father's work, fearing commercialization at every turn. Christopher really disliked Lord of the Onion Rings and the glorification of violence for its own sake, said Tolkien scholar and Wheaton College professor Micah Drought. He was born in 1924, and so the big special effects movie franchise thing was just not something he cared about. If his father hadn't sold all of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit rights to pay the inheritance taxes, I don't think Christopher would have sold them. All right, quick break again. Isn't it a goddamn shame? Isn't it a goddamn shame that old man Tolkien even felt the need to sell the rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit? Because he needed to pay inheritance taxes for his son after he passed. Taxation is theft. I know you guys believe that. But you know what? There's a lot of people out there that don't think the way we do, that don't believe that taxation is theft. But even amongst a lot of those people, it rubs them the wrong way when it comes to things like inheritance taxes. That's not buying or selling anything. That's not a part of the greater economy. That's our wealth. That's our family's wealth. That's what we have built and accrued and invested over our lifetimes. And then we then have to pay a tax on our own family's property when it goes from one hand to the next. Damn shame that inheritance taxes existed, and he would have never sold the rights to them, and we wouldn't wound up with just god awful adaptations. Also, just want to say really quickly before I scroll down anymore, one of the reasons I did enjoy the original the Lord of the Rings movies, Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King, but I know a lot of hardcore Tolkien people and scholars don't, including Christopher Tolkien didn't. And the main reason is that the books are so much more about the themes of friendship and peace and being very anti-war, being against violence as solutions. They didn't glorify those things. It's actually something as a little parallel to George R.R. Martin, who does Game of Thrones, that in the books they actually have very, very little of the goriest scenes and certainly the battle scenes. They're not actually in the pages. They're described about by characters after the fact, way more often than not. And and he specifically said the reason he writes it that way is, I don't want to write whole chapters describing all this violence in the middle of a battlefield, because I abhor it. He's anti-war. He's a hardcore pacifist himself. And so he doesn't glorify in that. Does it exist in the world? Of course it does. But it doesn't glorify in it, because that's not what the story is about. And the Tolkiens were very similar in that regard. Although obviously there was war and violence in the books, they didn't glorify in those things, because it was about the characters. It was about the relationships and the friendships and the struggle against perhaps our inner demons, the baser instincts of man. It wasn't about who could rack up the most kills and that sort of thing. So anyway, we're gonna move on here. So this next part that I want to show you, this guy right here is the young version of Elrond. And right off the bat, I want to scroll down and read the caption there for you. The half-elf Elrond, played by Robert Aramayo, is a politically ambitious young leader. Okay, wrong. No, so again, Elrond was one of the greatest elves in Middle-earth, definitely of the time of the War of the Ring, and for some time before that. Elrond's greatest powers revolved around peace and community. His own personal strengths were that as a healer. He was the kind of person who could heal almost any affliction. He had one of the elven rings of power, but he had the good sense to know that when Sauron rose up and had his one ring, he took his ring of power off so that Sauron could not possibly have any sway over him. He was incredibly wise and focused a great amount of his efforts into making a peaceful utopia for his elvish community, and his own personal talents were that of a healer. They're making him out to be a politically ambitious young leader that drips with a certain there's a nuance to the way they describe him. There's certain implications when you describe someone as politically ambitious. Politically ambitious people are evil. Politically ambitious people are evil. Politically ambitious people are evil. Elrond was not evil. He was not politically ambitious. So anyway, all right, we're going to move on here. Poor Elrond. You just can't leave a white man alone, can you? move on down here to the next little frame they have here. Oh, would you look at that? It's Bronwyn, played by Nazanin Boniadi. Jesus Christ. Can't people just be named Jane Smith? Anyway. And there she is with that Arondir guy. So these are both characters that have been created for the show. And oh, look at that. You're gonna have some hot Sylvan and other type of elf cross-racial relations there. She's being colonized by that Sylvan elf. Sylvans, am I right? I want to move down. There was one towards the bottom that I specifically want to point out. So here's another picture of this Bronwyn lady. Now, here's another one that you got to get ready for. So this is another character that they've created for the show. Let me read you the caption. It says, Bronwyn is a single mother and healer seen here in her apothecary. This is another character that has been specifically created for the show, and they're going to make her a strong single mom Yas queen. Because those are themes that we need to add to the Lord of the Rings, you guys. We need to talk about strong single mothers making it in a white elfish man's world. Jesus freaking Christ. Like, they might as well just put Captain Marvel in it and called it a day. Might as well just add her. Why not? So here's a little quote. We're going to get towards the end of this here and move on. Here's a quote from the showrunners. The driving question behind the production. Can we come up with the novel Tolkien never wrote and do it as the mega event series that could only happen now? Can we do it? Can we outdo Tolkien? No, you cannot. And finally, one last little one that we're going to get down at the bottom of the article. So here's Homeboy that was with Galadriel at the start of the series. So this is actor Charlie Vickers is playing Halbrand, a new character who is a fugitive from his own past. He's a broken white man who needs the guidance of strong female character and perhaps diverse cast in order to right his wrongs. Ooh, boy. Well, that's gonna be fucking shit. It's gonna be shit. The way you know it's going to be absolutely... It's the way you can tell it's dead on arrival. The absolute way you can tell it's dead on arrival is two key things. One, that just from this handful of screenshots, you can tell that the diversity quotas were met. The wokesters are in charge on this series. That's number one. Number two, and this is the other big way you can tell it's dead on arrival, is the showrunners are given the source material, and 5 minutes later, they've decided, we can do better. We can do better, you guys. Let's just take these thousands of pages, this grand narrative that the greatest fantasy author of all time has given us. Let's start a little cut here, a little paste there, a little white out here. Let's add a chapter there. We can do better. Yeah, Swole Keesley says, 0 likable characters, sterile set designs, garbage story. This is going to be the thing. And it'll be very similar to the way Game of Thrones wound up. In so much as when they're pulling material straight from Tolkien, it will work. When the material is then tainted by narratives and story arcs that they themselves decided to write and characters that they created just for the show, it will be terrible. And in the same way, you look at the Game of Thrones series that was on HBO Plus, or HBO Max, whatever, is when the show was staying as rigid to the book series as possible, the show was better. when the show departed the book series, and especially when they, because look, when you're adapting something, it's understandable that you cut things out. The material available is way bigger than what you have time to put on the screen. So it's understandable that cuts get made. What's not understandable is when you change what's already there. When you take characters that maybe had certain roles and you vastly change those roles to fit your own version of events. Or in the case already with the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, that it wasn't enough for them to have this wealth of material. They decided, let's add to it. Add to it? Again, makes perfect sense to make some cuts. I mean, how many episodes, how many seasons do you want to make of this thing, right? Like, you're not going to take the whole, like, Silmarillion and turn it on to the screen. It's just not going to happen. But you're adding to it. It didn't have enough characters, you guys. Didn't have enough characters, this grand opus with thousands of characters. Didn't have enough. Didn't have enough diversity. Dead on arrival. All right. Anyway, I'm done with that. I'm not even going to watch it. I'm really not. You know, I was invested in Game of Thrones. It started off better, and also partly because, you know, once I had been watching the series for years, I wanted to at least see how it was going to end, and it ended terribly. Because if the last 2 years haven't been terrible enough, let's ruin Lord of the Rings and all of its wholesomeness. Yes. And you know what? Wholesomeness is a really good word. Despite there being triumphs and tragedies, lives and deaths, lots of pain and anguish and sorrow and hardships, but the themes are very wholesome. It's so much about friendship and overcoming all odds through love and companionship, at really being central to the story. You know what I know for a fact is not going to have that? This new series. I know for a 100% fact they're going to completely jump the shark on all that. It was the same thing in Game of Thrones, that as the show became more of a grand spectacle, as so many more of the highlights of each season were, look at this huge set piece, you guys. Look at how many horses are in this charge. Look at this big pile of bodies. Look at all the cool stuff the dragons are doing. When that became the highlight of the show, and not the dialogue, the characters, the development, that's when you knew the show was over. And with this Lord of the Rings series, they're basically already there they're going to be there on episode 1. There will not even be a good time and a bad time for the show. They're going to start episode 1 with, look at all these huge set pieces, you guys. Look at how cool this magic is. Check out this big forest with all the neat temples. Look at all the sword fights and the duels. They've already lost it. All right. It's going to be about wokesters overcoming prejudice and bigots. I already had our friend Dave Benner, who I know is a big fan, who said, "Do you think the Balrog is going to be struck down for being a bigot?" And I said, "No, I don't think so. I think the Balrog is actually going to transition into being a woman, and then is going to become the protagonist in the second act. Except for he's going to have a penis. So excuse me, my bad." Mrs. Balrog with a penis is going to be the protagonist of Act 2. So no smiting here for bigotry. Except for the white man. The white man's going down hard, but everybody else, they're fine. I know that this, I'm trying not to sound like a boomer con in talking about this stuff, but it really grinds my gears because the material that's there is good enough. Who are any of us to say, oh no, Tolkien didn't do enough here, we need to do better? Do you think Tolkien would have written in more diversity if it was published today? No. I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing as Disney and these other companies, like taking old fables and folklore from Central, like Western, Central, and Eastern Europe from centuries past, and then updating the stories with a bunch of diversity. Like, there's a reason why there wasn't a bunch of diversity in the story. The story reflects the time and era in which it was written. And that's not even what the story's about, though. It's about the themes and the messages that come across. But it's always about the characters. It's something I really can't stress enough. When people say, like, well, how do you go about deciding what you like and don't like? The biggest thing is it's the characters. The story almost doesn't matter. I know that that's being like a little bit hyperbolic, but the story almost doesn't matter. What matters is having great characters and seeing development in the characters. That's the story. The story is not what is done. The story is the characters doing the deed and how they change from the first chapter to the last. And all of these modern works, all of these big budget things where they try to adapt great stories, they lose it. They lose the characters, and it just be, let's replace the characters with a CGI dragon. Let's change the characters as we knew them into a diverse cast, as they did on Wheel of Time. God, just absolutely freaking awful. Should also point out, by the way, that if you go watch Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime Video, it kind of looks cheap in some places. I actually looked this up because I was like, some of the set pieces and some of the costumes and stuff really just kind of look like community theater-ish. And so I was like, did they just not have any money for a budget for this thing? And I looked it up, and they actually had roughly the exact same size budget as The Witcher. So The Witcher made a way better looking show, with a lot more consistency in the quality of the production for the exact same amount of money as they made that Wheel of Woke over on Amazon. God, Amazon's really blowing it, I guess is what I'm saying. They really have not done a fantastic job there. So anyway, I'm glad you could all join in on my rant there. I think I'm done with that now. We'll turn this. You stay on for like another minute. Jesus. All right. Turn it back to the chat here. If we've got anybody who's tuning in tonight that wants to jump on the show, just hop on Skype. We'll get you on here and we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about or what we've been talking about so far, whatever. So this is, even though this is It's Way Too Late, this is kind of It's Way Too Late, the community live stream edition. Will this piss off enough normies to turn the tide more against wokeness? No. Because a lot of people still like the crap. A lot of people say they hate the way things are going, but then they'll still tune in and watch the crap and get absorbed in it. Because most people can be bought with some cool effects and some CGI. That's all it takes for a lot of people. And the people who really revere the source material and understand the importance of characters, that's not their target audience. That's not their target audience. So it is what it is. Try to do a Blazing Saddles remake today. Yeah, well, I mean, so people say that a lot. So first of all, yeah, I get what you're saying. Second of all, don't remake it. Just watch Blazing Saddles. That's the first thing that people should always ask themselves when like the execs in Hollywood are all sitting around fucking their children and talking about what to produce next. The first thing is instead of doing the remake, just go back and watch the original, and then you're done. Just don't remake it at all. But if they were going to do anything even remotely like Blazing Saddles, the dare should be for them to do it exactly the same way, with exactly the same edge as the original had. Because, I mean, what's the point? What's the point of comedy or art or any of these things if you're not going to find where the line is and then step over it anyway to push the boundaries? These people who want to fit neatly into a box, These people are not artists. These people are not comedians. They're a joke, is what they are. Um, so yeah, I think that's the most that we've ever talked about Lord of the Rings on the show, and I hate that it came under such terrible pretenses. Um, but yeah, do not watch that crap show. Just go back and watch the original trilogy if you've got to watch anything, or better yet, just read the books. They're fantastic. Yes, just don't apologize twice in 1 week if you step over the line. Yeah, you don't apologize to anyone ever for any reason. If you're an apologizer, you're a fabbit. Um. All right. So anyway, I'm a little bit worried that we only raised $10 when I'm going to need a lot more than that to afford this new chair. That's very problematic, I must say. But let me see if I can. I know I probably missed a lot of chat there while I was looking at the stupid Vanity Fair article. Um, yeah, my hack for all this is to only watch 20-year-old or 2-year-old TV shows. I actually have a couple of really good friends that they purposely, if a new show comes on that's all the rage, they will not watch it until the show has concluded, and then they go back and binge watch the whole thing. Um, yeah. Uh, a single mother being pursued by a Sylvan elf sounds problematic. Hey man, I'm not the one that wrote it. All right. Um, wasn't me. I miss chat too. Anyone need muted? I don't know. If I see anybody problematic, I'll let you know. Ryan's on his best behavior now. All of a sudden, it's all that zucking he's been getting over on Facebook. It's got him skirt. No, Corey, you love the commercials. The commercials help pay for my new chair. Um, I need a hell of a lot more than $10 to pay for the new chair. Um, or Twitch subs or Patreon subscriptions. It's a good time to mention, by the way. Just go find us on Twitch. And if you're an Amazon Prime customer, go follow my channel and then sub to my channel for free with your monthly free Twitch Prime sub. There you go. It's just that easy. It's free to you. It gives me money. And then I go and buy a new office chair. That's what we got to do. And also, be here, Middle Tennessee, June 4th. It's the 4th annual It's Too Late live show hosted by yours truly and Dave and Mary at Liberty Late Night at the private Bon Aqua Computer Club in Bon Aqua, Tennessee. That's just south of Nashville. It's going to be June 4th. We're going to have an awesome cookout. I think we're going to mix like some magnesium metal and silver nitrate to make bombs. It's going to be really awesome. Uh-oh, I think we have somebody coming on the show. I'll get that set up for you guys here in a second. A link to the event. Aaron, do you have a link to the event, or do you want me to find it? Let me see if I can find it for you. There it is. Boom. It is the 4th annual It's Too Late live show. Right there at the link at Eventbrite. Get your ticket because space is limited. Going to be liberty-minded individuals from all over the country are going to be joining us here in Middle Tennessee. That's June 4th, later this year. All right, let me see if I can go find a friend. We'll phone a friend here. Ryan, where's your camera at? Take your time.
There we
Hey,
go.
okay, there we go. All right.
Oh, hey,
Oh,
Alan.
did you turn on your camera yet?
Yeah.
It's not showing a camera to me. We're having
No,
we're
it's
having
on.
Celeste issues all over again.
No, it's on.
And why do I hear what the hell? Anyway, can't figure it out. What why are you doing the raid emoji? Don't do raid emoji unless someone actually raided. All right. Yeah, Ryan, I don't see your camera, so I can't pull you up here. It's
Mm,
being problematic. I'm just gonna get a giant blue S for Skype.
how about that?
Nope, I just hear you. We don't see you.
Should I try calling back?
I mean, you can. Does it at the bottom of center of your screen? Does it have like a little camera button?
Yeah, and it's on.
I don't know. You could try calling me back.
Okay, I'm gonna try
Okay.
calling back.
All right. Here we go. Okay. I'd come on, but Alan requires a shirt. I do require a shirt. That is actually true. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. We're here now. All right. So we'll add you to the show somewhere. Holy shit.
Should I get some better lighting?
I thought we talked about you just putting together a whole studio there.
So I went to Best Buy and I looked at the stuff, but I mean, it's like really expensive.
Yeah, no shit. I know. I'm I'm fully aware. All right. We're gonna instead of me switching the camera back and forth, we're just gonna have a little Ryan cam permanently on screen.
And I wonder if I could like just like switch the camera so I have like the better camera.
I don't know. Uh-oh. I mean, all right. Well,
How's that?
let me resize you again. All right. All right. Now we've got Ryan. We've got correspondent Ryan cam up in the top right. Yeah, you just so the biggest things are is you got it you it's good to have a really good camera, but it's great to have good lighting. Uh but yeah, so,
Okay.
just sell a couple of your Ferraris and build your studio and you should be good. There you go. All right. That's quite a quilt there.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. All right.
Well, I don't like myself on better lighting.
Well, I think it's good. I think it works. Let me.
Okay.
All right. If you promise not to move again, I'm gonna resize it one more time. All right. There we go. All right. So how have you been since the Zuckening? You doing all right?
Um, a little lonely. I mean, you lose all your friends and you lose contact with a lot of your friends. So,
Now it lets you use Messenger, right? You just can't post on Facebook stuff.
hmm yeah, which they changed because you used to not be able to use Messenger either.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Well, then obviously what that means is that then you have to personally message all the people that you know on Facebook
Yeah.
and just say hello.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
every
yeah,
day.
it's best to do it every day, lest they forget.
But then, Mary gets annoyed and, she starts raging at me.
Oh, does she? Oh, that's
Like, why are you texting me every 6 minutes?
oh, that's too bad. I didn't know that that happens.
Yeah.
Mary, if you're here, could you lay off Orion? He's in prison for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just want her to put some money in my commissary
yeah,
so I can get some ramen noodles.
yeah. Some ramen. I'm glad you said ramen, unlike that Dave character who says ramen.
Is it ramen or
I'm
ramen?
pretty sure it's ramen. I'm pretty sure Dave's just retarded. But Dave and Mary were both
Well, that's
here a little bit
that,
ago.
that's why we're friends, is because we're two peas in a pod.
Yeah, they were both here a little while ago, and I think they both left. I think I started talking about Lord of the Rings, and they just noped out.
And then, fuck that.
Yeah. Uh,
So I was gonna say, okay, so since we got the terrible shows out of the way, what good shows are you watching?
what good shows am I watching? Gosh, I'm not caught up with Better Call Saul. I think that like the final season of that show just started on TV, and I haven't even watched the season before that, so I need to get caught up. But Better Call Saul is good. So Better Call Saul is a really the reason that one popped into my head is I thought that that's a really good example of a show that it was kind of a spin-off from Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad was one of the best shows ever, and Better Call Saul was a
Okay, and you're gonna slap my hand because I've never seen Breaking Bad either.
Breaking Bad's one of the best top 5 best TV shows ever made. Breaking Bad.
Okay, yeah, and that's what everybody says. I mean, yeah.
And so Better Call Saul was a spin-off of that, and I think me and a lot of people, your natural reaction is that, oh, if they're gonna make like a spin-off prequel using like different characters of a successful show, it's not going to be as good, right? Like it's just going to be there. It's just like a money grab. But no, Better Call Saul is actually fantastic. It's really like that whole universe is like really really good. Somebody mentioned in the chat Ozark. So I had only seen the first couple of seasons of Ozark. And when season 4, part 1 just came out like a week or two ago, I had only seen the first couple seasons. I got to like season 3, and I just sort of, how sometimes you don't stop watching a show because you don't like it. You just sort of kind of get busy with other things, and then all of a sudden you're just not
Hmm.
following it. So that kind of happened with me with Ozark. So I went back and watched. I caught up. I went back and watched the third season, and then I got caught up and watched the part 1 of season 4, which is going to be their final. So there's going to be one more part. Ozark's also really good. Um, I didn't. I have some gripes about it. I didn't love a couple of the things in the later season, and there's definitely a couple of characters that I'm just like, Jesus Christ, get off my screen. But the show as a whole is sound. It's really good. Uh, we'll take turns. You name one. What's a show that you like or that you've seen
Right
recently?
now I'm watching 1883. It's a prequel to Yellowstone,
Mm-hmm.
which I haven't even seen any of Yellowstone, but it's not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna say it's the best, but it's not too bad. It's like about pioneers going out west and their struggles and
Mm-hmm.
blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Harpoon says, "Who has to go? Can't wait for part 2. Who has to go? Who has to go from Ozark?" So the mom of the family, Wendy, like played by the actress Laura Linney. Maybe Laura Linney will die before they finish filming, and then they'll write her out of the story. I feel like that's the best we can hope for at this point. Actually, I'm pretty sure they're already done filming, so it's too late. But Jesus Christ, I hate Wendy so goddamn much. She's just, I just hate her. She ruins everything. She's just,
So do you hate her as like a character? Do you just hate her because she's like actually good at her character, like a good
so,
actor, or do you hate her just because she
so,
sucks
so
as an
Derek
actor?
TV says called her Hillary Bird. Their last name in the show is Bird. So Hillary Bird instead of Wendy because she's like Hillary Clinton. Yes, Wendy Bird is like so Hillary Clinton is the character who's the mom in the show, and that describes to you the character. The character is just god freaking awful. It's um I hate her. She's just terrible. But it's not a good hate like, oh, they really make you hate that character. That's really good acting. No, 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 no. There are characters like that in shows. She's like that to an extent, but no, I hate the character so much that I don't even enjoy the scenes that she's in. Because she says and does things that if you put yourself, like a lot of us do that, you sort of put yourself in the shoes of the people in the show, right? Like you think to yourself, what would I do if I was in the position that this character is in? And so everything Wendy does is not what I would do. 100% of the things Wendy says and does are things that I would not say and do because she's just absolutely terrible. I don't want to go into too much more detail because I don't want to spoil it for people who like are interested in watching the show. I haven't watched it yet. But she's just the quintessential mom character who doesn't communicate properly to the other characters, doesn't respect her husband, doesn't listen to what he tells her. And I'm not getting into a whole like a feminist anti-feminist thing, but more that this is a lot.
But is she meant to be a hateable character, and she is doing a really good job of acting at being a hateable character?
No, I think that the character would excuse everything she does as trying to help, trying to make their position better, trying to help the family, etc. But she's just retarded. She's totally irredeemable character. But to finish that point, it's not even so much like a feminist, anti-feminist thing of, oh, she should be subservient to her husband. I'm not even saying that. I'm saying that these people, the characters in the show, are
even though she should be subservient.
Oh, she totally should be. But beyond that, the characters in the show are in a life or death situation. Without giving a ton away, because I mean you learn it in episode 1 of season 1. The father of the family was working for a Mexican drug cartel, and he was laundering money for them. And they are in a world where if they do a good job, their family lives. If they do a bad job, they get all their heads cut off, right? Like that's the world they live in. So you would think if you and your loved ones were in that situation, I know you're a dad. It's not just about you. You might think to yourself, well, I'll just, put on my gear and go get in a shootout with the cartel. It's not about you though. It's about what they would do to your family. It's about what they would do to everyone you know and love. So if you were in that situation, wouldn't you logically, if you were planning something, if you were cooking up some kind of scheme with your family to perhaps escape or better your position, if you were trying to lay low or not
see if that was me and I was dealing with the cartel, I wouldn't be cooking up any schemes.
Well, but any of that, the point being is anything that you may or may not be trying to do to either get out, save yourself, whatever, wouldn't you want everyone on the same page? Like, wouldn't you, if you're Wendy and you have this wild idea that could totally help, but what it actually would do is get your husband killed.
Family killed.
Then don't you think you should run that by your husband before you just go do it? Wendy is a just go do it kind of character. Yeah, so just totally irredeemable.
That is retarded.
Just totally irredeemable. Like I said, it's when you put it in the context of this is a life or death situation, the way people act so recklessly, knowing that one slip up means the cartel doesn't trust you and they silence you and everyone you know. It's just not feasible for you to then be saying and doing reckless things. And
I really try to take movies at their face value, and I'm not one of those people that are like watching an action movie or a superhero movie or whatever. Oh, that's impossible. That couldn't have. I mean, you're just there to be entertained. But in situations like that, it's like, what the fuck are you thinking? Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can you be that retarded? Nobody is that retarded.
Yeah, so there's another character who, in my opinion, is not as bad as Wendy, but is similar to Wendy. And again, big surprise, it's another female character. There's a character named Darlene, who's like this old backwoods hick lady who lives on a farm with her husband, and they grow poppies. So they're not a part of the cartel. They're like a separate, basically think of them as a separate faction in the show. So Darlene, the woman of the once again, it's the women of the marriage. So the woman Darlene is the one who is way over aggressive, who is way more likely to resort to violence at the drop of a hat, and who will openly antagonize a Mexican drug cartel. I mean, like she's not looking to hire assassins. She just walks out in broad daylight and just takes shots at them because she's like, "Fuck you, we don't care." Um, and it's amazing. Again, so putting yourself in that situation. So if you're Darlene's husband, um, oh shit, what was her husband's name? I forgot now. Damn it. Um,
So what might it be a cure for that is to show her some videos online of what
yeah,
Mexican drug cartels do to people.
yeah, and
That would change my mind.
yeah, and so again, it's a situation where the husband's not a good guy. Like he's a heroin dealer who's killed people. He's not a good guy. But this not good guy is the one trying to talk her down and tell her your recklessness and being openly antagonistic to like a global drug ring is endangering our lives and is endangering the lives of all of our men and our families and everything else. It's one thing to not be in lockstep and agree with everything the cartel says. It's another thing to be openly antagonistic towards their representatives, which they do regularly. So again, if that's you or me in that situation, even if we were like putting together some sort of huge scheme, we would have the scheme together first, right? Before we do anything else. So they're cooking up a scheme while she's out there openly being antagonistic towards the cartel. And it works out about as well as you would expect. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, personally, I wouldn't get mixed up with the cartels.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Person.
I've made the argument in the past that I'm not saying Marty Bird is the man of the family that's played by what's that actor's name? Anyway, um, he's not totally innocent in this because he was the one that agreed to work for a Mexican drug cartel and launder their money. So even though things might have been good for a time, and even though they might have gotten rich doing it, he's the one that put his family at risk by agreeing to work for
Mm-hmm.
them. So I'm not saying that
Yeah.
makes he's not an innocent character. However, when you just accept that okay, we've moved on from that. Like we're in this now. We're in this criminal world and we're trying to figure out a way out. Everything that Marty has done since that time has been to try to keep his employers happy while keeping his family safe and looking for a way out. While all the people around Marty are constantly shitting on him and shitting on his plans. And it's like I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine being in that situation. Like I couldn't imagine you and I being in that situation and you being like, Alan, I'm gonna figure out a way out of this. And me being like, Ryan, you're stupid. I'm calling the cartel. Ryan's being stupid. Like I just you might as well just blow your own brains out. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And you would too. Yeah, to avoid the torture.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kill
Oh,
yourself.
there's torture scenes in the show, so don't you worry. They got that torture down pat.
Yeah. That's why you don't deal with the cartels.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, I'm starting to feel more confident that I could launder money though, but I don't think I'd launder money for the cartel. I feel
No.
like we've got everything we need to launder money, but we just don't have the money.
Well, you get me the money and I'll launder
Yeah,
it.
well, I've only got $10 and I need like 160 more for a chair.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as we
Well, if you need me to launder your $160, like
No, I don't have the 160. I got to wait for the money. People got to give us the money so we can launder it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Harpoon says, "How about the series You? You on Netflix." I'll wait till Monday for Annika to talk about that. So me and Annika watched the show You together because it's a perfect show for us as to watch as a couple because it's about this guy who's a raging sociopath who stalks and murders women. So it's a good show for the whole
But
family.
I mean, if you can get enough money together, I'll open up a mattress store and we can launder all the money you want.
Yeah. I mean, I feel pretty confident that we could do it.
We'll have one on every street corner.
Yeah. I remember back when I owned my printing company, I actually had a friend who's not going to be named. Of course, this was back in 2010, 2011. And back then, there were way less states that had any type of marijuana legislation. There were way less states, like only the most, like only like California and maybe Colorado or Oregon at that time had legal weed of any kind. And then there was a handful of states that were medical, and that was it. And my friend had some extended family who owned a grow in Michigan. And they went through all the proper procedures to get their licenses so that they could have their, of course up there it's cold, so they had their greenhouses where it's something like you can have 5 plants for yourself, and then you can have so many more sets of like 5 or 10 or 15 plants to grow, and then that has to go to a specific like state sponsored facility where it's going to be processed and stuff, and then they can like turn it into medical marijuana or whatever. So the point being is that you can make money growing it, and you can keep a little bitty of it for yourself, but you can't just grow it and sell it. Like, they're not the people selling marijuana. They're just growing it and then basically selling it to the state who's making medicinal. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's accurate.
Well,
Yeah, because I'm actually an hour from northern Michigan, and that's exactly how it
okay.
works.
So yeah, so you get it. So that's they had some family doing that, right? And as you might not be shocked to learn, it's all super regulated. You have your grows, you have your little greenhouses, and they can drop by and inspect it at any time. And
Mm-hmm.
then down a ways and behind the hedges, they had like another 5 greenhouses where they were growing way more shit than they were legally supposed to be growing. And it
Yeah.
wasn't
Well, usually they do it out in the middle of the
yeah,
cornfields.
exactly. So they were growing. They had way more plants than they were legally allowed to have. And so it wasn't that they were thinking about like selling it on the side. They were just a bunch of fucking hippies who just had a barn full of like the most hardcore kush you could ever get your hands on. So anyway, my friend had talked to his family and said, "Do you know how much money we could make? Because this is that medicinal shit, right? Like this ain't no skunk weed." And my friend went and talked to his family members and said, "Do you know how much money we could make if we made like a once a month, once every few months pilgrimage up here to visit family, and went back down south with just, you know, as much of this shit as we could stow away and sell on the market down here." Um,
Hmm. Yeah, I have stories that I'm not gonna
and
share online. Yeah,
and the
like,
only
yeah, you get the
the
idea.
only
You get
reason
the
the
idea.
only reason I
Yeah.
even knew about that, other than the fact that my friend just told me one day out in the open, because he's a really terrible criminal. Uh, so we're just eating at Applebee's, and he's telling me about how he's going to bring a bunch of medicinal pot down from Michigan and sell it on the street in Tennessee. Um, is he was saying, well, we got to launder the money, and I was like, well, I mean, if you're thinking, if this is something you're seriously going to do and you're thinking long term, then yeah, you know, if you're going to go sell like, 6 figures worth the medicinal from Michigan in the southeast.
But I mean, it's not hard to launder money. All you need to do is take all your cash, go to Best Buy, buy a bunch of shit, and return it.
Okay,
And there's where you're laundering money.
so you
It's not hard.
okay, so first of all, there's a ton of loss in doing that. And second of all,
There
and
is.
second
But I mean, it's free money to
but
begin with, and you just want it
and second of all,
clean.
that's way too
There's
public.
always a ton of loss in laundering
That's way
money.
too
That's
public.
what.
That's way too public. You can't like you
Okay, so you spread it out. You go to the Best Buy here, and then 30 miles away, you go to Target, you go to Walmart, you go to
yeah.
Meyer. You spread it out. You don't have
So
you don't have to go all in one
yeah.
place.
Yeah, that's how people get caught. What they wanted to do was they wanted to use my printing business to launder their money. They wanted to, because the friend who was doing this was actually a photographer. It's just as a total random aside. And what they wanted to do was basically they wanted to make a bunch of art. They wanted to make a bunch of prints, like like those foam cord mounted posters,
Oh,
like make
okay.
a bunch of like your
I
two
see
by
where you're
three
going with
prints and
this.
like go sell them at
Yeah,
the
I see where you're going
you
with
know
this. Yeah.
go down to the local galleries and stuff, like on the open nights and weekends, and like have their art for sale and stuff like that. But the point being was is
Hmm.
that they wanted to do that, and for me to basically charge them exorbitant fees to make the stuff, and then me then turn around and basically
You mean like Hunter Biden's paintings?
yeah basically 100.
Tell me that's not money
Yeah, so
laundering.
basically they
That's
wanted to use
blatant money
yeah
laundering right out in the open. It's
yeah
hilarious.
yeah they wanted to
You almost have you. I mean, you almost as much as you hate these people, you almost have to give them credit for the audacity,
mhm.
and the just
They are
they just don't even
oh
care.
yeah.
They don't care.
Well, I mean, they don't have to care. You're not going to do anything about it.
No, they don't have
Yeah,
to care because they're above the law, completely
yeah.
above the law.
Yeah. I mean, what's funny is that things like the trucker protest really only get into the crawls of some of these people. Not because it's not just because of it being a protest. It's because like they genuinely just gasp at people having the audacity to resist them. It's not just that you resist them. It's that you would even think of doing it. It's unfathomable to them for you to think that you're on the level they're on. That's genuinely how a lot of these
Right.
people think. Like the
Yeah, and I think they're mad too because it's not something that they organized. It's not something that they constructed. And it's not one of their, like Black Lives Matter manufactured,
mhm.
society disrupting, economic disrupting
Yeah, so
deals. It's something that's actually organic. And that's what they can't stand.
yeah,
It's not something that they can
so
control.
Corey says so it's basically the same thing as the laundromat thing, where you have a laundromat that's running a lot of cash transactions, and it's just you're just the machines are just running 24/7, so you're pumping out a ton of volume, but eh,
And it's all
yeah,
quarters.
but that money's turning around, right? Like I'm taking it and I'm paying taxes on it, and I'm keeping a big chunk of it for my trouble, and then that money's turning around and going back to them. So that's what they wanted to do, and ultimately it never happened. So for my friends at the IRS and whoever's listening, that never took place. Um, but that's not exactly like working for a Mexican drug cartel. But the the main thing that I tried to communicate to them when they were openly entertaining this idea was because there's three different pieces to the idea. There's getting the inventory from your family. And this is your family, and they're perfectly content to do it. Like they have a stock they could never exhaust, right? Like they have so much shit in storage. They're like, "Sure, fuck it. Pack up a trailer and take it home with you." They don't care. So that's a hell of a
And they're willing to lose a shitload so they don't even
yeah.
care.
So that's a hell of a deal. You're not going to get anywhere else, right? But
Hmm.
the second part is that then you are transporting it back and selling it, and then three, you're laundering the cash. So for me, it was if you just said, "Hey, I got $1 million in cash in here. We got to figure out what to do with it." I'm sure we could put our heads together and figure out what to do with it. That's not the problem. The problem is that if you want to go sell like $1 million worth of weed that you packed in a trailer, that's not. I mean, there's a lot of people out there
Yeah.
that like to smoke weed, but who's selling it? Are you personally
Yeah.
selling it? Are you getting other people to sell it for you? Now, how many people have you included in this? I mean,
Yeah. It's hard to sell kilos at a time.
yeah, exactly. And and what kind of attention you're going to get. So not only would you get the attention of like the
Yeah.
fucking feds, but you would also get attention of other people who live in this world that you might not want to fuck with,
Hmm.
that are like because
Yeah.
they're going to have
Yeah.
questions too. In the same way that your FBI agent's going to have questions, your local drug lord's going to have questions of who's this guy and how did he show up here with this fuck ton of medicinal weed, you know?
Yeah.
And they're going to be
Well, I mean, that's why you have to do it in medium-sized towns. I mean, medium-sized towns don't have organized crime. But I mean, you are going to draw the attention of people that, are more than willing just to fucking rob you
mhm.
and kill you for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you see stories in the news all the time.
Yeah, that's why you just want to be the money launderer. That's
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
why. Yeah, but if you're gonna,
You just want to be, yeah, you just want to be the bookkeeper.
but if you're gonna be the bookkeeper and you're gonna be laundering millions of dollars, you probably want to do a good job and not fuck around.
Because you make that's where you don't make mistakes.
Yeah,
You know, like on my job, I could fuck up and make $1 million mistake. Not that I really have the opportunity to do that, but it's not going to cost me my life.
yeah,
But if I'm working for a Mexican drug cartel and I fuck up and lose $1 million,
yeah,
yeah, you're not only going to lose your life, but it's going to be in the most miserable way possible.
yeah. So what I want to talk about is how is it that we monetized our Twitch channel and then like in a week got 11 subs, most of those being people with Amazon Prime, and we haven't gotten a single new sub since then. Even though I know for a fact there's like 400 more people in our audience that are Amazon customers, and we can't get a single additional sub after 11. I got to buy a chair here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think once you have the new chair, and then things will pick up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, people noticed
Hmm.
before that. I mean, this chair was looking pretty ratty, and now it can't.
Yeah.
But you know, I just wanted this
Mhm.
chair, so I found the chair. I found a replacement.
But I think people were kind of turned off about that by that chair.
Hmm.
But once you have your new chair,
Hmm.
people will be like, "Hey, this guy's a professional. Look at that chair."
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to just.
And then,
I'm just gonna go back to using a webcam and just having a mic set on the desk, and people are gonna say, I don't even notice a difference. Look at that chair.
exactly. So you should have just sold. See, just sell all your shit and buy a nice chair.
Yeah, just get rid of the studio for in exchange for a chair. Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
Annika is going to be back on Monday, and we're going to be joined by Dave and Mary. And this past Monday, Annika was sitting in this chair, and I was sitting on my exercise bike. And we made it work. But I really need to get a second chair so that we can both be sitting at the desk.
Hmm.
I mean,
Did you ever watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I know
Is that show where he had like the dildo bike?
I know that a ton of people love that show. I've like never seen more than half of one episode if it's Always Sunny.
See, it took me a while to get into it, but once you get into it,
Hmm.
it it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
They're just so horrible.
Harpoon IPA says, "When I get better, I'll buy you a chair." Are you not well, man? Who were we talking to the other day? I don't remember who it was now. Somebody was here on Monday and they sent us a message and said that they had a really bad day, but they hope we had a good stream. And I was like, well, that makes me. I mean, I'm glad that they tuned in, but it makes me feel bad that they had a bad day because I'm like, when I have a bad day, I don't go watch a shitty podcast. I just go, like
Mm.
drown.
Wasn't that Aaron?
No, it wasn't Aaron.
I remember
Aaron's
that.
here because he's on the clock. He's the Twitch mod, so
Oh yeah.
yeah. But we didn't get into
I
it. Like
forget.
I would never pressure someone to like tell us their tell us their problems. I want to talk more about Mary rebuking you when you try to talk to people.
Hmm?
You've been in rough shape since surgery over a year ago. Jesus Christ. That's a long time to be recovering. I know Annika's mom just recently had her surgery and stuff for the titty demons, and
Hmm.
she's good now. She's like actually fully recovered. It's amazing how quickly she was back up on her feet. Um, Maybe throw up a post/poll in the community group asking how many folks have Amazon Prime. Once you identify those folks, then put together a step-by-step guide to do it. Jesus Christ. I can't even read your whole comment, much less do that for them. I'm pretty technically proficient, but the process for doing the Twitch subscription wasn't all that intuitive, to be honest. All I know is I didn't have any problems doing it when I did it like years ago at this point. I assumed obviously incorrectly that it had gotten easier since then. Um, But the thing is that if I can't get anyone to listen to me to sign up, then how are they going to answer the poll? Ryan, you might remember back before we did like episode 150, I did a survey for our audience that was just some questions about the show, about some guests, about some content, about lots of things of what people would like to see. And I mean, out of our episode 100 got like 60,000 views. You know how many people answered the survey? 34. Dude, like, what do you say to that? Like,
that sounds about
yeah,
right. Sounds
like
about
that's
right.
your conversion rate right there, dude.
Oh,
Alan explained it to me, and it was pretty simple to link my Prime and Twitch. Well, I was under the impression that if you have a Twitch account and then you go and follow the channel, then there's a button to subscribe, and then there's a checkbox for Twitch Prime. And if you haven't already linked your accounts, if you click on it, then it'll take you through the steps to link your Amazon or whatever. We do have a new subscriber, Cheesy Gordita Crunch. Cheesy Gordita Crunch is our new subscriber. I got to update that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I could go for... Actually, not really. No, we don't have 112 subs. Boy, wouldn't that be fucking nice? We got 12. All right. That's fantastic.
Alan wishes he had 12 subs.
No, I have 12. I wish that I had 112.
Oh.
Yeah.
Looks like we're getting raided.
Yeah, we're not. People are using raid when it's not. Aaron, can you start muting people who are using the raid emoji when it's not appropriate? We got to learn these boomers on how to use Twitch. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I see people,
I wish we would get raided. It would liven things up.
Yeah, I know. If we would get raided from like one of these e-thoughts and their 15,000 viewers, and they come into here, then you and I, Ryan, we'll give them an education on anarchism.
Yeah,
it'd be fucking dope.
We would too. Yeah. Start bidding on their bathwater.
Yeah. Well, we've raided a couple of different people over the last couple of weeks.
Money laundering, selling e-thought bathwater.
Yeah. So we've raided some people over the last couple of weeks, and I always tell our people when I'm sending them to another channel, now you guys fucking be on your best behavior. Don't go into a normie channel with a bunch of normie people and start talking bullshit about age of consent and taxation being theft, and basically don't say anything I would say. Don't say any of that. Go over there and be polite, and then that way maybe we'll get rated back.
Yeah,
I think everyone's been pretty good so far, though. We do have to get our emotes and all that stuff. I got to do that. It's already like 2 weeks overdue that we've got all these cool. We unlocked all these features that I'm not even using right now because I just haven't like taken the time to set them up. All right, well, this has been fun. I'm a little bit disappointed that we're sitting at $10 and one Twitch subscription.
I mean, I would donate $5, but I feel like that's, the camel scratching the fly's back. Or how does it go?
What?
The fly scratching the camel's back?
Sure.
Or the
mostly
the camel scratching the cat's ass?
What we really need is a whole lot more people. Like I had this conversation with Celeste the other day, is that I don't need Celeste to donate every week. What I need is we need like 2,000 more Celestes. And then we'd be fine at that point. So that's...
I don't know if we need 2,000 more Celestes.
Well, I mean, it can be a variety. Like, it can be 200 more Celestes, 150 Aarons,
a
couple hundred...
Celeste type peeps, Celeste type...
Yeah,
people.
Well, I'm just saying, like, we've gotta break the algorithms. We have to get the reach. We have to reach new people. So... way more often than not, I know when we have an episode or a post that for whatever reason, breaks through the algorithm. Because I'll look like on Twitter or on YouTube or whatever, and I'll see suddenly, like out of nowhere, there's a bunch of interaction, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I don't know what we did different, but it's cool that this one got out there. But man, it's there's a lot of people that are one-offs. Like there's a lot of people that'll come in, watch a show, be like, hey, that's neat, and then you never see them again. It's hard to get people to come on a week by week basis, or maybe they're watching the shows on Odyssey or something. They're watching the recording sometime during the week, and that's fine. We get way more views after the premieres than we do at the premieres by like 100-fold. So that's not really so much the issue, but it's really hard to get those same people then to turn around and answer a survey, join a Patreon, those types of things. But I mean, the numbers have been going up. I'm blown away at how much, like, we're only in February and this year is rocking. Like, this is going to be our best year, no doubt.
I think Celeste just needs to make like 100 alts.
Yeah, but her 100 alts won't all be subscribed. That's the problem.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, yeah, if all of her alts had their...
But at least we'll have 100 Celestes.
Yeah. I mean, if they all had their own separate checking accounts, then maybe we'd be in business. Yeah.
She could have 100 checking accounts with $5 in each checking account.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
and then just keep building on each checking account every week.
Well, like, I know some people don't really like Patreon, and that's fine. Like, there's if you don't like the platform, there's nothing wrong with that. I just use it as a tracker just because it's easy, because it's a monthly subscription, so you can just look at X people times X money equals, that's what you're making per month. They don't have to use Patreon. They can go about it a different way, but I mean, our Patreon has gone up every month for the last several months, and then went way up in January. So that's awesome. So I mean, everything's going in the right direction, and views are up, and downloads are up, and everything is up. And we've got some pretty awesome guests lined up for the next couple of months too. And then of course, not long after that, it's going to be our big event, and the event's going to be a banger.
That is going to be a banger.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Dude.
That's going to be fucking
awesome.
I can't wait to meet you in person, Alan.
I
can't wait to see Celeste again. I can't wait to see Mary and Dave again. Can't wait to see Lyle. I can't wait. Who else is Gary going to be there?
Yeah, I think so. Pretty sure.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah. Bigger guests than me. I feel so bad. So yes.
Yes, to all of that.
Fact check this podcast says bigger guests than me. Well, I mean, only not bigger in our hearts. Never that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, our episode 200, because we're doing the event in June rather than March like we've done the last few years. So episode 200 will be here the second week of March, but we're not doing an event. The event's not till June 4th. So we're probably just going to have like a big guest on that week. And then, I don't know. We'll just say, oh, look at this big guest we have. It's episode 200. Woo. And that'll be it. There won't be any other pomp and circumstance. But June 4th is going to be ballin'. We're going to have entertainment. We're going to do the whole show. So Ryan, you don't know this. When we've done the live shows the last few years, we did an actual episode of the show on a stage in front of a live audience, which presents its own challenges, to be able to do all the stuff we do, but do it live, like in a strange place in front of people with all your shit all set up, Me and Dave are going to do that. We're going to do a live show just like we do in studio. We're going to do it out there in front of the field where everyone's going to be.
So then is like Celeste and Lyle and Mary and me and some of the people going to be able to come on as guests?
Oh, certainly not, I would think. That's going to be nice. That's going to be definitely. What you will get to be on, because we're going to do viewer mail, but we're going to have someone in the audience with a microphone and you're going to ask the question.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I mean, viewer mail is going to be, because it's all going to be live. So
So I have 4 months to think of my most banger question ever.
yeah, exactly. Till June 4th.
I mean, I've had one or two that were pretty decent,
Oh yeah.
but now I gotta up my game.
You were on a pretty good roll there for a while, and then you got banned because you just repeated what you heard
Mhm.
on the program.
From you,
Yeah.
fucking fag.
Probably some feds coming too. At least Alan will get money off of them for tickets. That's right. Fact checks this says I'm 6'5". Okay, they like Tom Woods isn't physically bigger than you. I know he's actually way smaller than you because he's way smaller than me, and I'm way smaller than 6'5". But we're probably gonna have Woods on. Are gonna try to get Woods on for episode 200, I guess. Or it'll either be him or maybe Jeff Deist or somebody like that. We'll see.
Reminds me of that meme is when you meet all your Facebook friends in real life. It's all a bunch of
Yeah,
feds.
yeah, yeah. Celeste is actually a 6'5" FBI agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I mean, if that's not a honeypot, I don't
yeah,
know what
dude.
what.
Yeah, the fourth annual It's Too Late live show. What's amazing is we made it to a fourth annual show, even though every single year we arrest everybody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you just keep getting new. I mean, that's what it's all about. You got to keep getting new suckers.
Yeah. So unless you get Glenn Jacobs, I'll still be the biggest. I could have already had Glenn Jacobs. He's not a hard get for me. I just haven't had him on because I'm not sure what we would talk about. I don't really give a shit about Knox County. So it's like, what's the angle there? What would we talk about? Um, yeah, I don't know. Aaron says, I was looking at the Twitch VODs and you get double to triple the views than you do while you are live. You need to catch them subs. I know. People need to be subbing to this fucking program so we can do more fun shit. Wrestling, of course. I was never into that fake bullshit, though. So I'm not going to talk to Glenn Jacobs about wrestling because I don't care at all. Not even a little bit.
Nobody does.
But there's actually a lot of people because I've met a lot of people the last couple of years that we've done a live show. But there's a number of people coming this year that I had not met yet. So I haven't met Dave and Mary yet. I have met Derek and Celeste because they came to episode 100. Haven't met you. Um, my mind just went blank. Who else is coming? Um, haven't met Carl. Um,
Yeah, who's staying our Airbnb? So Celeste got the Airbnb. So Celeste, me, I think Lyle. I don't know who else is staying in the Airbnb. That little farmhouse.
mhm.
Is that like on there? I don't even know where that is. Is that like on their property?
No,
Where it is? Where?
they don't have
No.
an Airbnb. But if you got an Airbnb in Bon Aqua, then you're going to be very very nearby.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where
Like
it is. It's in Bon
yeah, because
Aqua.
Bon
Yeah.
Aqua is one of those like it's not even like a corporated town. It's just
hmm
land that's south of Nashville.
hmm
Um,
It sounds very quaint.
yes, it is. It is
It is very quaint. Yeah.
June 4th. I'm putting in for a day off now. You're getting a hug whether you want it or not. How long is the drive for you? Uh, yeah, Justin. How long's the drive for you from where you're at? Because I'm pretty sure it's not that bad. Because Lyle just comes up. Yeah, yeah.
I thought about driving. I just thought about driving from Green Bay. It's like 10 and a half
It's only
hours.
2 hours. What?
10 and a half hours.
No, no, not you. Justin says it's only.
Oh,
I didn't realize you were that close. It's only a couple hours. Well, shit.
yeah. What the fuck are you doing? Why is it even a question?
Yeah. Well, if you're only 2 hours away, you should just come here every Wednesday night and just sit over there and just
That's what I would
just
do.
watch the show.
That's exactly what I would do
You actually,
with my shitty phone camera.
like in all seriousness, you don't know. Like, I guess you probably do know. Like, I take this very seriously. I want to have the best freaking show there is, and I want it to be a great late night show. and I want it to be better than the late night shows on TV. Although all the ones on TV are fucking terrible now, so I don't like. I already feel like we're better than them. Um, but I want to do this. This is
I feel like Alan draws a lot of inspiration from Craig Ferguson,
yes,
and that was my all-time favorite
yes,
late night
and
show.
he's been gone now for way too long.
Way too long.
Yeah. So, but the point being is this is what I want to do. Like, I mean, I do other things, but this is what I want to do with my life. I want to do this for like the next 30 years. I love doing this. But the reason I brought that up is that you have no idea what a thrill it is for me to do this in front of a live audience. Like what they get to do on TV 5 nights a week where they walk out there and do their monologue in front of the bleachers of seats or of audience, you know, whatever. Maybe they have 150 people they pack into one of those studio theaters to do, you know, the Tonight Show or whatever. Like, it's such a thrill for me to. So we did one at episode 50, but there was only like 15 people there, and then we did episode 100 and episode 150. It's such a thrill to be sitting at the desk in front of the lights, but actually having a sea of people there and seeing faces of people you know and stuff. So we originally had thought about not doing a live show this year because it's just a lot of work. But Dave actually was like, no, we should do it. Like I'll bring all my stuff in the van and we'll like combine our equipment. And I was like, okay, so we're gonna do it. But it is a huge, like I you don't know how much I wish I could do this and have a place where I had like 50 or 100 seats and have everyone just come in every week and enjoy the show. That would be.
That needs to happen. That needs to
I
happen.
agree.
Even if it's 10 years from now.
Like we would have so much.
I mean, hopefully sooner than that.
Because it's so much more energy too. Like even just doing the show live as opposed to pre-recording it. There's a certain amount of more energy knowing that people are tuning in and are interacting. You know. But then now take that and multiply that by like 1,000,000 to actually have a studio audience there, you know, laughing at what we say and, you know, just generally being interactive with the show. It's a ton of energy. I love it. I mean, I've been a musician and a performer for a lot of years of my life, and so, you know, it's always about being in front of an audience. And so being able to do this in front of an audience is freaking awesome. Yeah, Aaron says pre-recorded, which Alan has never done. That's correct. We've always been live. So, but yeah, doing it live in front of like 100 people and doing that like every week, dude, it would be a dream. Harpoon says a goal of 100 subs, then 1,000. Yeah, let's just get 1,000. Let's just do that. Let's just go ahead and
we'll start at 1,000. We'll start at 1,000.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead and pick up 1,000 and then
let's just go ahead and pick up 1,000 and then we'll go from there.
Yep. Harpoon says 20.
I mean, I feel it's doable.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, I just think of all the cool stuff that we would do, like the monologue. If we're doing a monologue in front of a live audience, then I'm actually going to walk out there and do a monologue as opposed to already be planted behind the desk. And I mean, you know, Dave is still going to be over here, you know, so I'm still going to be talking to Dave, just like Craig Ferguson talked to Jeff the Robot. Yeah.
Alan, you need to start that. You need to start doing your monologue in front of a curtain.
I don't
you need to get a curtain so you can do your monologue in front of a curtain, and then you can go behind your desk with your backdrop there.
So
you got to take it to the next level.
Well, the main restrictions there are space.
You don't need space.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do need space. This is like, so my backdrop is only basically big enough to frame one good shot. Like I couldn't even have like, you know, like if I had a couch or chair over here with a guest, the backdrop's not big enough. I would have to have a way bigger stage with a way bigger backdrop. Or if I was going to do it like this, where everything's just recorded basically from home, then I would basically need two. I would need to have one set up right here at the desk and then have like a separate setup with like just a light and a camera where I could be standing and do a monologue. And then in the first commercial break, come over to the desk. So you either need to have one big
Just
stage.
had like off to your left, just like a curtain
Mhm.
against the wall.
So we,
And you stand in front of the curtain with a mic, like with the mic on a stand or something.
yeah. Gear Up says CGI drapes. So one of the things I will never do is green screen. I don't do green screen. Like what we have is
So that's what amazed me. I thought that was a green screen, and until Alan educated me a couple weeks ago
look at that.
that it's actually real.
Yeah, dude.
It's
Yeah, we built.
actually real.
Yeah, like
That's fucked up.
uh-oh.
So
My Twitch says
I thought that was a green screen the whole time.
in 5 seconds
Been
everyone's
watching
going to
this
get
shit for
another
like a
ad.
year.
I hope they enjoy it. It says ad starting soon. Take that. That just made me like another 6 cents. Dude, we'll take it.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, so I mean,
That's like half a Dave's salary right there.
well,
At least you can pay Dave this week.
yeah, exactly. Well, so cuz the studio, Blake's old studio, which is not there anymore, so it's all moot. But Blake's old studio had a back room that was the party room, and it had a reasonably sized stage. Still not a big enough stage for this. Still not big enough. But it had a reasonably sized stage that instead of you seeing the whole stage, we could have the cameras framed where you just see the desk and couch, and then you can just see this corner where we could have like a curtain or something set up, and it could have been feasible to do it that way. But it's a lot of fucking work. It's a lot of extra work for that one little change in the show. And it would have required like,
It'd be cool if you could get like a guest chair to your right hand side that you got from Goodwill,
Mhm.
and just like have a bunch of duct tape on it
yeah.
with some like rickety coffee table.
I mean, this thing's just dropping screws all over the floor right now. I don't even. I only have half of one chair right now. I'm sub one.
You're talking about getting 2 chairs. I don't even have one fucking chair.
Yeah.
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 What the fuck.
Dude. I don't even know. It's. Uh-oh, I'm messing stuff up. Okay.
All right, just start writing checks. Okay, if you want all that shit, you just start writing checks.
Well, we used to. I mean, I know I should be nicer to people when they're trying to make like polite suggestions or whatever. But we used to get that a lot when we were towards the end of the gold standard, and when we were first making the transition to It's Too Late. I used to get like little fan mail from these fabbits all the time that would say, "You should just do this." Like, oh, you like Craig Ferguson? Well, you should have a thing over here. You should build this thing, and then you should have like a booth for Blake, and he'll be right here, and he'll have his own separate like system, and then you'll be over here.
And just build a robot.
Yeah,
Alan, just build a robot.
and
you want me to build a robot for you? I'll
yeah,
build a
just
robot
just
for
do the monologue on stage, and in front of a with a mic, just with a lapel mic. And talk to the audience and have all that shit simulated in, and then when you have just have the guests in studio. Don't
just do it. Just
dude,
do it.
Skype sucks.
I mean,
just
it's not hard.
Just invite
this
because you have a studio. Just invite the guests in, and they'll sit down with you like Reuben Report or something. And I'm like,
I mean, I would do it myself, but I'm too busy jerking off.
Yeah.
So.
and I would respond to all the people that would say that shit by telling them, can we physically do all those things? Yeah. We physically have the talent and know-how to do all the things you just said. But do we have the budget for it? Only if you write us like a $30,000 check. Like, and that's to start. Like that will get us off the ground to do what you have in mind. Yeah.
Right.
And then you make sure that I'm making that like few grand a month that I want in subscribers, and we'll dude, we will. Like, you've seen that fucker that's who's he with the Blaze or whatever, that Matt Kibbe guy that is Kibbe on Liberty. He's got his own little like red brick studio thing, and like he'll have the chairs set up, and he'll bring in people like Thomas Massey and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, we can physically do that next week. You just have to pay me like 50 grand and we'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when they say just do it, I say just write the check. Just write it. Just go to PayPal.
Yeah. Just write me a $30,000 check, and then and then we'll build the robot.
Yeah, I remember. What's funny?
And then you give me 10,000 subs.
Yeah, this is like in all seriousness.
It's easy.
All seriousness, Blake. You remember Blake, our first producer? He was the guy that owned that studio we used to be in, and He told me years ago, back when we were still doing the gold standard and still just doing like just libertarian podcast guest type stuff. And he had told me, because he used to work in TV. Blake worked for the local Fox affiliate. So in Nashville, it's Fox 17. He worked for Fox 17 for some years. And he was like a studio manager there for that TV station. And he had told me that he was like, if this really took off, like, you know, if Patrick Byrne from Overstock.com like showed up one day and said, here's $1 million, I really like what you're doing. He was like, I will turn this whole, like, we will basically gut this whole studio and turn it exclusively into a TV station. Like, we'll quit the music, we'll quit the parties. I'll just gut the whole thing, turn it into a TV station, 4K cameras, all on tracks, lighting, you know, soundproofing, the works. And we'll set up basically like 2 or 3 different stages so that you could do different programs, bring in guests, whatever. We'll totally do that. And he was like, yeah, it'll probably, you know, probably for 50 grand, we'll basically retrofit this into our own TV station, and you could literally do TV quality stuff the next day. But again, you know, it's like that's in a scenario where we actually had a big investment to do it. And then after the initial investment, we have to be making the equivalent of 2,000-3,000 subs worth the income.
I don't know, Alan, for what you have, I mean, I think you're doing pretty studio quality shit, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than most people's shitty podcasts and stuff. I definitely think that.
That's for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
I mean, that, you know, and honestly, before I even knew you, I mean, that's what really impressed me about the whole deal is like, you know, I mean, the whole production quality of it, you know, and your whole, you know, setup and, you know, I don't know.
Well, so like Tom Mullen had come on the show a couple of weeks ago, who he's written a number of bestsellers, and he's also a musician, so that's why I really like him. And he's doing a show now. He actually started his show because his publishing agent was telling him, you need to start a show so that you can sell more shit. It's just a funny thing about him. But he basically said to me the same thing that you said, which was, I pulled up your show one day and I yelled out to my wife, hey, come look at this guy's fucking show. Like, it looks a million times better than mine or anybody else's. It's amazing. I was like, I wonder what he's doing. And I did for him the same thing I did for you. I grabbed my camera and I was like, look, I'm just in a fucking room and I built all this by hand. And he's like, holy shit. And I'm like, I know. I feel like you have no idea the kind of stuff I wish I could do for you guys, that I just have to ease back off the throttle.
But you know what's fucked up about it, Alan, is, I mean, somebody could give you 50 grand tomorrow and you could build the best studio and have all the best equipment and whatever. But I mean, like 99.9% of it is luck. Just fucking, you know, isn't it though?
A lot of it is luck, but it's luck tempered with that you're doing the right things. So if you're
I mean, you got to do the right thing. Okay. Yeah. Yes. So you have to do the right thing, but I mean, how many people out there are doing the right thing?
So I mean,
there's a lot of people out there that have really cool podcasts and really cool shows,
just really,
you know, and I'm not trying to compare you to anybody or saying that they're better, or, you know, I mean, but there's just so much of it out there.
So
I mean, it's just like, it's almost all luck.
Brian Johnson, who donated $10, says, I hope this helps defray the cost of a new chair. I hope so too, buddy. I hope so too. Well, so the analogy I was going to use, Aaron can back me up on this. Aaron is a musician. The analogy I was going to use is like being a performer, like being a songwriter, singer-songwriter type. Is that so how do you make it? So the first thing you have to do is you have to write good songs. Like, you don't just make it by being a piece of shit. First, you have to write good songs. Then you have to continue to write lots of good songs for a long time, because the more you create and the longer you do it, it's like buying more lottery tickets. Where obviously having 1,000 lottery tickets means you're more likely to win than having one lottery ticket. So, I mean, we've had a number of people that have,
Unless you're Nickelback. If you're Nickelback, you don't have any of that. You don't even write one good song, much less follow it up with
well,
any
you
other
know,
good song.
Corey says it worked for John Mayer. So John Mayer is actually who got me into guitar. Like I learned all of John Mayer's songs when I was in high school, and that's where I learned to play guitar before I started doing jazz. And I mean, yeah, it's just, you know, creating lots of content for a long time is just increasing your chances that eventually something's going to happen. You're going to reach a certain audience. You're going to break through that algorithm. You're going to catch the attention of some opinion molder, some influencer who's going to be like, "Oh, hey, check this out." And then your life is never the same from there. But that won't happen if you're not making good content or if you quit making good content. So I'll never forget. So we talked about Tom Woods earlier. I hope he comes back for episode 200. He's been on the show a couple times already. The first time we had him on was when there was that whole incident where he accidentally locked himself out of his office, and we have it on video of him. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it was funny. But
It was hilarious.
so after that interview was over and we had already cut recording, I was still on, I was still on Skype with him for a little while after when Blake was like packing up. And he had said to me that, I felt like you and I had a really good rapport, and I feel like you obviously are striving for a quality level that supersedes most people. And I had told him, I mean, keep in mind, this was like, I was like I was like 40 episodes in, and I'm at 195 now. And he had told me all the way back then, you just have to keep making them. There's no secret. You just have to keep making them. If you're doing a weekly show, then every week at the same time on the same night, you better have content out. And we've done that every Wednesday night at 9:00 Eastern. We've been pumping them out for 4.5 years. So anyway, I'm definitely not giving up. I definitely believe in the snowball, model of, you go from 1 to 5, or from 5 to 15, and from 15 to 30, and then from 30 to 60, and then from 60 to a couple of hundred, and then all of a sudden, it goes from there. Aaron says, read my comment. Hold on. Aaron said, or you could just release 13 albums in 7 years with 30 number one singles, be the first band to play stadiums, and still get called overrated by a dick shitter on a late night show. It's because the Beatles fucking suck on top of being overrated.
The Beatles do suck.
Yeah, the Beatles, they just suck. They're not even good. So they
do suck.
I
hate the fucking Beatles, and I hate everybody that likes the Beatles.
Were you a big John Mayer fan, or were his songs just good to learn on? So both. I was a huge John Mayer fan.
Yeah,
because
you're pleasant. I like John Mayer. It's pleasant. It's just soothing music.
Well, because most of the people I knew when I was in high school when he first his debut album came out, and I knew some dudes in Guitar Club who were like, "Oh, he just does pop music for teeny boppers," and I was like, "Have you not seen this guy fucking play? Like, this guy's like a blues fucking god. He just does that shit because it pays the bills. Like, that's what wins you Grammys. That's just the world we live in, right?"
I mean, it's just somebody that has natural talent.
Yeah. So it was both. It was both that I like. I've seen him in concert like 7 or 8 or 9 times or something. And then the other thing is the song, like the actual music itself, the songs to learn on guitar. The analogy I used is you know how back in the day when you got like Mortal Kombat or Mortal Kombat 2, like on the Genesis or whatever, and it had the difficulty settings of like very easy, normal, hard, and very hard. You know how
Veteran.
You put the cartridge in, you turn on the game, you put it on very easy, and if you do that, you learn easy. You learn what it's like to play easy. And if you were to then immediately put it on very hard, you would get your ass fucking raped because you had learned easy. You didn't learn hard. You learned easy.
Yeah.
So I learned.
So you have to start it on veteran.
Yes.
So you have to start it on veteran so you get used to getting your ass raped.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where I am in life. I'm just used to getting my ass raped.
But imagine how much worse it would be if you'd never experienced that and had to do that tonight. It'd be awful. So That's what I did.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gibbs says the problematic meter is spiking. Well, you know what? This is the Thursday night live stream. You know, yeah, we can't be expected. That's just
Ass raping. Ass raping.
that's just for It's Too Late. This is not Wednesday night. That's just for It's Too Late. But I'm serious. So when I was learning his music, I was like, I've literally never played guitar before in my life. Let me just pick it up and start learning this not hardest song ever written, but at least intermediate or above. And it really like kicked me into a higher gear a lot earlier.
So, I mean, what you're saying is if you're starting to play guitar, you don't want to learn Metallica songs. Because if you're learning Metallica songs, all you're learning is 3 chords.
Well, I had friends,
So what you want,
like, I had this girlfriend in high school, the first part of college, that she wanted to learn guitar. And so she did what a lot of people do, which is she goes and gets a guitar, and then she goes to her local music store and like signs up for lessons. And then she goes to the lessons once a week that are like $50, which $50 in like, 2004 money is like $18 million today. And
thanks to 64,000%.
and they're fucking having her pick through Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and shit, and I'm like, dude, that's not how you learn to play guitar. That's how you learn to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and then quit playing guitar for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. So no, I picked like,
yeah, I can play Mary Had a Little Lamb on the violin.
yeah,
so.
exactly. So there's lots of people that did that and then quit because they were like, hey, it's not fun. Like, you should be playing things that are fun to play. Yeah. Wait, hold on. Somebody said highlighting my messages is useless, obviously. No, it's not. There it is right there.
No, I saw it.
Yeah.
No, I saw it.
Yeah, it's right there.
He spent the points, so we have to acknowledge.
Yeah, yeah, the big streamers don't even give a fuck.
Anybody who's going to spend points on highlighting their messages, we have to acknowledge it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just glad that exceptional Hitler 7 hasn't visited us again on Odyssey. I think he's maybe moved on. I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah, that was a little too problematic. I mean, even for me, that was a little too problematic.
Yeah. So actually, my guitar's over there in the corner. Like, I remember, so I picked up guitar and I was learning to play songs like Why Georgia and.
So you're gonna play something for us, Alan?
No,
Is that what you're saying?
I'm definitely not playing anything.
Yeah, come on.
Nope.
No, do it. Do it.
No.
Do it.
No, I actually got on here Sunday for like 30 minutes and played some music. I'm not doing that. I will in the future, though. It won't be right now, but I will in the future. I gotta. Ever since my hand injury, it just takes me a little bit longer to get back into playing shape than it used to.
I feel like this is all nervous stretches. Like, he's like just like not prepared.
No, it's more that I would normally relax in my chair, but I can't because if I do, I'll flip out the back of it. I have to crouch forward because this thing, dude.
More screws will fall out.
It's so, dude, it's so sad, man. It's what's funny is I heard a weird noise earlier this morning and I couldn't figure out what it was, and now I realize what it was. It was the chair breaking.
So I feel like it should have a proper burial. You should like dig a hole in your backyard and like bury
No,
it.
I'm gonna save it until June 4th. We'll do it like we'll do a funeral pyre.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's.
I'm into it. I'll buy the gas.
Yeah. Does it really require gas?
No, it's highly flammable.
Well, I sent a thing to Dave and Mary earlier today. So there's that YouTube account of that guy that has like those little 30-second, 1 minute long clips of him doing chemistry experiments in his lab. It's
yeah.
And he in the latest one he put out was he took magnesium metal in powder form and he pours it out. Puts it in a beaker, and then he takes some silver nitrate powder and pours it in the beaker and then shakes it up so that it's just kind of mixed together. And what that does is then you pour that out on wherever you're gonna.
It's an accelerant.
Yeah, so all you have to do is if you
pours in water.
You literally you don't pour you don't pour water. That's how you die. You take a droplet of water and you squeeze it out over a pack of powder that's only like that big, and then it just, I
Okay.
mean, the millisecond the water touches it, it just boom. It's basically like a flashbang. So it's a relatively small explosion, but it flames out really quick, and then and there's a huge flash of light. So I sent them that clip, and then I was like, I wonder if we can buy that shit. And sure enough, you can get magnesium powder
Yeah, you
and
can.
silver
You can
nitrate.
buy all that shit on Amazon.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon, dude.
Yeah, you can get all that.
So
shit on Amazon.
I'm just saying, June 4th.
Oh yeah. Yep. I've looked at that.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, you can.
Uh-oh, is Lyle leaving? He says, okay, Gain, I'm gone like hair products at a California CVS. Oh, that's problematic. I hate to see that.
Is it because they steal? Is it because they steal all of them?
Yeah, I hate to see that from Lyle, though. I feel like Lyle should stay above where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, we're counting on him to like maintain a certain line.
Yeah. Well, he has to bail us out. Like, he has to vouch for us. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
California is problematic.
I feel like Lyle is kind of our anchor, and now we're losing our anchor, and now we're just adrift.
Yeah, Harpoon says make some thermite and send off the chair properly. Well, I mean, I said we were going to do a funeral pyre, not melt it into the earth like 20 feet. That's not what we're not going to do that.
No, we could blow it up so like one of the arms comes back and hits us in the forehead.
That's the only thing that worries me about the magnesium and silver nitrate is that it does explode. It's not like we're putting nails into a box. Like, it's not going to have, but it does have a little bit of debris because it will shoot out little bitty specks where it literally melts the silver. Like, it literally will create little specks of silver that are going to shoot out like little razors. And so
it's not like we're going to Home Depot and having them cut like a 1 foot section of pipe and then threading both ends and then putting in an end cap, screwing an end cap on one side, and then like gunpowder, and then like drilling a hole in the middle and putting like one of those green wicks in there, and like putting some ball bearings in there, and then like maybe putting like some cotton balls in there, so and then like screwing on the other end, and then
you know what I bet you could do for the magnesium nitrate bomb. I bet what you could do is, of course, keep in mind when he did the experiment, you're talking about like a tablespoon of each. So what you do is you put like 2 pounds of each into your pipe, but it's got to be exposed to water. Yeah. So I think what you could do,
you have to rig something up. So
I already know how to do it. I already know how to do it because we did some terrorism back when I was in college. So I already know how to do it. What you do is you get like in this case, since you already have the pipe, and of course you're going to have some nails and stuff in there. Why not? You
of course you're going to have some nails.
This is what you do. You put like the final inch or whatever of the pipe is going to have like a little Ziploc bag that you poke some holes in. And then in that bag, you put a piece of dry ice.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically like a natural timer. And then when it's going to melt, it goes through the hole.
Yeah. That's a good idea. Yeah.
I know this because we did some dry ice bombs of the freshman girls' dorm when I was at Maryville College. Shit was insane. I can't believe we didn't get arrested.
Sounds terrible.
Actually, we didn't get arrested because they didn't know it was us, and now I just announced it live. So
and since I'm a Fed, now you will be arrested.
Yeah, but actually that never happened. All of this is just a dramatization. I'm only playing a character on TV. Yeah.
I'm just playing a character on TV.
Yeah, my name's not even Alan. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's Frank.
Yeah, Frank. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Frank Allen Mosley.
So by the way, if you want to know what we did, it was fucking genius. I'm gonna tell the story because this will be today's story. We didn't get anywhere near enough donations for me to tell
Okay, no, you gotta pause it because I'm like my bladder. I gotta.
Okay,
piss.
All right. I'll pause the story for you to take a piss.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Corey says there's probably a statute of limitations on terrorism. Boy, we can only hope. Story time with Uncle Alan. Coming up next. But I actually have a really serious story time with Uncle Alan to tell, but we're gonna have to hit some donation incentives for me to. The next time we do one of these live streams, we're at like $100+. I'll tell a very serious story time with Uncle Alan. This is gonna be a very personable story time with Uncle Alan. Piss break is needed for many, I imagine. You know what? I'm gonna take a break and grab a drink too. So I'm gonna leave you guys with something to watch while while I'm gone. Here we go. I'm actually amazed that I made it back in time before that video ended. That was awesome. Uh, so anyway, all right. So my freshman year at Maryville College in East Tennessee, we decided we're going to bomb the freshman girls' dorm. And the way we were going to do this was with dry ice bombs. So for the dry ice bombs, what you do is you take a bottle like so, and you fill it maybe about 2/3 of the way up with water, and then we went in teams of two. You'd have one person with the bottles, and one person with a pack of dry ice that we had shaved basically into shells. And when you're ready to set the bomb, you just open it up, shove the dry ice in there, close the top, because it's going to build enough pressure to burst the bottle. Now think about this. The only evidence you're leaving behind is a plastic bottle and a puddle of water. There's nothing, it's not dangerous. But it is going to make a really loud pop. All right. So anyway, and the freshman dorms were these like shitty old dorms where it's two people to a room, and they're just like communal bathrooms and showers in the center of each floor. It's like 4 stories. And so we're like, okay, well, we'll put 3 dry ice bombs apiece in the shower stalls of each floor, and then that's going to mean like a cascading boom 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 in that really echoey space on the center of each floor. So I want you to understand how much went into this ploy, because this was 2005, and all the dorms have key card access. You have a key card to get in. Like I have a key card to get into the freshman boys dorm. It doesn't work at the other buildings that require a key card. And not only that, they're tracking the comings and goings. Like the main lobby's got cameras, and if you're going out and then you use your key card to come back in, now they have a timestamp of this person came in the building at this time. So obviously we're going to do this at night, and obviously we're going to be dressed as ninjas. That goes without saying. Mostly to cover our faces, but also because why not? So the first thing we had to figure out was how to get in and out of our own dorm without setting off alarms and without them having those timestamps of, oh, look at these guys who came back to their dorm at 3:30 in the morning. They must be the culprits, right? So then we figured out in the basement of our dorm was the laundry room, and it had a fire escape. But the fire escape would only set off the alarm if the fire dorm was left open for more than a few seconds, and it was locked from the outside. So we pennied that door with the intent that when we're coming back to the dorm, having completed our mission, we would come back in. We would go out through the fire escape. We would let one person out, close the door, let another person out, close the door so that we don't trip the alarm. But also we would penny the door so we can come back in from the outside. Same process. The next thing is okay, but how are you going to get in the girls' dorm? Because your key card doesn't work to get in there. Not that I think you want to be walking in the well-lit front lobby with cameras everywhere, dressed as ninjas carrying bombs. So we actually had 3 different plans. First was, we honest to God had a guy in our team that had a grappling hook to climb to the 2nd floor. That's number 1. But it ended up not coming to that, because during the day, when it's just normal visitation hours and the doors are unlocked, we tied, it's those types of doors that the outside has handles like this, but the inside has a push bar. You know, you push the bar in and it pops the door open. So we tied some fishing line to the inside bars of the little push bar and ran it outside in the grass so that at night we could grab the fishing line, pull it, and it would pull the bar in and pop the door. So that's how we got in the back door of the freshman girls' dorm without, with it being locked. Then we separated into teams of 2. 2 people went to each floor. I was on the 3rd floor, I think. We had a team on the 4th floor, the 3rd floor, and the 2nd floor with a lookout on the 1st floor. And we all went up one flight of stairs. There's 2 flights of stairs on either side of the building. We all went up one flight of stairs, a team of 2, to each communal bathroom on the middle of each floor and set the bombs. Now, the next thing is we had done a bunch of tests. We took a whole bunch of like 20-ounce bottles of Pepsi, Coke, whatever. And we had run a bunch of tests to see if you have exactly this much water and you put in exactly this much dry ice and you close it tight, how long before it explodes. And in all of our tests, it always ran to be about 3 minutes or so. About 2.5 to 3 minutes. Like the quickest one went off at like 2.5 minutes. The slowest one went off at like 3.5 minutes. So 2.5 to 3 minutes. So we knew we had this timed with synchronized watches of when the first bombs get set, everyone needs to be setting their bombs at the same time and leaving the building so that we could be away from the scene of the crime when the first bomb explodes.
Sounds like some Mission Impossible shit.
Okay, now, you know that no story is good without the plan going awry somewhere, right? So this is where it went awry for us. All right, the teams go to the bathrooms to set the bombs. And then everyone is meeting back together in the stairwell and just going right back out the way we came in. When the last team gets back into the stairwell, and we're thinking to ourselves, we need to kind of be in a hurry. It's not like the building's going to explode in 30 seconds or anything, but we need to be moving. As we start heading down the stairs, what do you think we hear? Boom! We're like, oh shit, one of the bombs has already gone off. As soon as we hear that first bang, we start flying down the stairs to get back out the building. And here's the second problem. Now, one of the bangs has already gone off, which means people are already now screaming and waking up. There's a door at the bottom of the stairs that lead to a private residence for one of the employees of the school who lives in the freshman girls' dorm. That residence belonged to the dean of students. They woke up. We knew that was their room, but we didn't let the fact that the dean of students' room was right there deter us because it's the middle of the night. They're not awake. We're going to be in and out. Well, now they're awake. We hear rustling behind that door, and then you hear the, click, click, click of them undoing the lock. So one of the guys who was on our team, who's like a 6'5" dude, he just slams that door shut right in that bitch's face and holds it closed while all the rest of us go out the back, and then he runs off. And then we go out the back, run across the parking lot. At this point, as we're running across the parking lot, we're hearing pop, 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 pop in the building behind us, and you're seeing all the lights turn on. The lights are coming on in all the windows, and you hear screaming and stuff. And we make it back to our dorm. We all go through the fire escape. We all go back to our rooms, go to bed, and never speak of it again. The end. The moral of the story is that had we used magnesium powder and silver nitrate instead of dry ice and water, I think it would have been even better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Corey says, for legal purposes, I have no audio at the moment. Well, I mean, I'm just telling a story. None of that actually happened. None of that's real, what I just said. $5 from Justin Campbell says, for the Veggie Facts video. See, Justin, this is why you got to watch It's Too Late every week. That was our feature video on the show like a month ago now at this point. And it was fantastic. I hope my story was even remotely as good as the Veggie Facts video. What happened to the 6'5" guy? So he got out. Like, he slammed the door shut right in her face. I don't know if she got hurt or fell down. And at this point, we really can't worry ourselves with such details. But he got out. He got out along with us. And no one got in any trouble. So all's well that ends well. Yeah, it was Justin, and he's still holding the door. Yeah, some say he's holding the door to this very day. All right, so there you are. Then that's story time with Uncle Alan. We've been live now for 2 hours and 40 minutes almost.
Hmm. 2 hours and 40 minutes?
Yeah.
That's not even our longest.
Says, wait, this has been on YouTube too? Yes. Alan, you didn't answer my question. How did the school react? Were there memos and an investigation? Yes, there was an investigation, and yes, somebody said the school newspaper. They actually did print something in our school newspaper just acknowledging the event took place and that, this was not that long after 9/11, so they were trying to threaten those involved with saying that, it was going to be treated like a domestic terrorist situation. And how it was a violation of this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. So yes, they asked around. But again, what was the evidence? The evidence was a bunch of empty bottles and a puddle of water. Dude, perfect crime.
Perfect crime.
I mean, perfect crime in the sense of we got away with it. Not perfect in the sense of it's not like we got anything for it. It's not like we stole $1 million from the vault or anything.
Well, you did. You got lulls.
Yeah, we did get lulls.
That's all that matters is the
yeah,
lulls.
we did. We did get some lulls. That is true. That was why we. I mean, that is why we did it.
That's why you do it.
What's funny is I mean, we had a team of like. This was like a team of like 8 people involved in pulling this operation off, and we never did anything like that ever again. And I don't think it was because we were scared of getting caught. I think we thought we were fucking amazing that we did it, and nothing came of it. But we never did anything else like that again. So I don't know. I think it was kind of like, what could we possibly do to top that? And Arco says, did you all give each other knowing looks when you passed by each other? I mean, dude, we had lunch the next day. The whole team of terrorists were sitting together, like in the cafeteria the next day, just eating our pizza, dude. It's not even a big deal. But we did have a very strict rule to not discuss it. So it's not like we were sitting around the cafeteria laughing about what we did. We were just having our lunch and just moving on with your life. If you're gonna like launder money for the cartel and like steal $50 million or something, you don't then go around talking about it. You just move on with your life.
Yeah, no, you don't. That's the last thing you want to do is go talking about it.
Yeah.
But of course, you have to brag.
Well, that's the thing, is that you can only brag to the people who were there. You can't brag to anyone else.
Hmm. I mean, they wouldn't get it anyways.
Yeah. I mean, at a bare minimum, don't brag until after you've left the university, like
Yeah, don't brag about it until like 20 years
yeah,
after.
don't brag about it until 2022 on your podcast. That's when you that's when you brag about it. This
When you're kind of pretty sure that the feds aren't watching.
Yeah. I mean,
Pretty sure.
this happened in 2005. I was like 19 when this went down, and yeah, no, we don't talk about it. I don't have a. I mean, and we didn't. There was no evidence. Like we didn't. There was nothing. There was no evidence. But we didn't keep anything. Like we didn't have anything on us that could possibly tie us to the events. Even if they absolutely knew what had happened and how it happened, and even if they just knew in their hearts that you did it, how could they possibly prove your involvement?
Pin it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. They can't.
Yeah. Did you have anyone say to you something like, did you hear what happened? Oh, yeah, people were fucking talking about it. Like, it's not just every day that a group of mysterious strangers breaks into the freshman girl's dorm and leaves sound bombs. I mean, that's all we actually did. It's not like it was a panty raid or anything. We didn't physically accost any of the young ladies. Dude, they didn't see us. The people inside the building did not see us, with the exception of one, but she was a mole. So that doesn't count.
I mean, a panty raid wouldn't be that bad either.
I mean, dude, you say that, but this isn't like an 80s rom-com, dude. You do that nowadays, you're going away for rape. Like, dude, you're going away for you're doing hard time. Like,
so if you throw some chick's underwear out of her dresser, then you're going away
dude,
for rape?
dude, you're going to Gitmo, dude. You're going to Guantanamo Bay. If you
That's pretty harsh.
Yeah.
That's pretty harsh for throwing some chick's underwear out of her dresser.
Dude, you are 100% a sexual predator. You're going to be on the registry, dude. It's all the way, man.
Mm.
Yeah.
So is that why I'm on the registry?
Yeah, because you did a panty raid when you were 19, and now you have to tell all your neighbors. But you know what?
Every time.
Seriously,
every goddamn time I move, I have to put notes on people.
But the bright side is that you get to brag to all your new neighbors about the panty raid.
Yeah,
you're legally required to brag.
That's yeah. See, and that's what these liberals don't get is, it's actually a badge of honor. Not only did I get to do the panty raid, but now I have to legally am I responsible for putting my antics on people's doors.
Yeah, so Harpoon says the female mole comes out 10 minutes after the story. We had someone on the inside just in case we ran into a snafu getting through the doors. We ultimately didn't need her help. The fishing line on the bars worked. The secondary option was going to be to have her let us in at a designated time. And the third option, if she chickened out, was going to be to have the guy use the grappling hook to go up to the second floor balcony and let us in. I mean, that dude was he was actually kind of disappointed he didn't get to use his grappling hook.
I would, if I had a grappling hook, I would be disappointed too if I couldn't use it.
Yeah. So he says, why the need for the fishing line if you had the female mole? Because ultimately you're trying to do it without any help, because that's just adding co-conspirators, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because see, you think about it.
You're adding, factors into the equation that you can't calculate for.
Because you think about it from her perspective. If she like chickened out or felt guilty about it after the fact and decided she wanted to like go tell the dean that who it was that did it, how could they possibly prove it other than one person from inside the building saying, I know who did it, with no other evidence whatsoever, and all of us denying it? Yeah. Actually, it was a guy named Kevin. Kevin was the guy with the grappling hook. He was ready to go. He was ready to climb to the second floor. Yeah. This is like one of the crowning achievements of my life, pretty much. It's one of those moments in your life where you think to yourself, I could be a great criminal.
I could be a great criminal.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking getting into mugging a little
Hmm.
bit,
But only what they can
but being
afford.
a nice
Yeah.
mugger. Yeah, but being a nice mugger though. I mean, I'm not gonna be like, give me all your money. I just want some of your money. I mean, like whatever you can afford,
Yeah. So,
you know. And I'm not gonna be like sticking a gun in somebody's face or like threatening them with a knife or anything. Just like maybe, you know,
mhm.
give me whatever you can afford, or I'm gonna stick some gum in your hair.
Oh, yeah, nobody likes that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see. So I'm kind of trying to put a twist on it
Hmm.
where, you know, I'm kind of being a
Hmm.
kinder, gentler mugger,
Yeah.
you know, where I'm not necessarily like trying to take all their money or like threaten their life or
Hmm.
anything, but just like whatever they can afford, or I'll, you
Hmm.
know, like
Yeah.
put like a chocolate in their butt crack so it makes it look like they poop themselves. I
Yeah.
mean, nobody wants that.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
only thing I can say though is I feel like your goodwill would be wasted on the person who like just shoots you 6 times center mass.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're just sitting
Yeah.
there
I
like,
mean, I'm trying to do
yeah,
good.
you're like,
I mean, I'm just trying to get a little side hustle
yeah.
going.
We used to have a saying for that when I was younger. We'd always just tell people, look, I'm just trying to get by, you know.
I'm just
I'm just trying to get
trying,
by.
please don't shoot me six
Oh
times
my
center
God.
mass. I'm just trying to get by.
I haven't said that probably in 10 years at least, 10, 15 years at this point. I used to have a group of buddies that I played music with back when I still did music, and we used to say that shit all the time. We'd always be trying to get somebody to help us with some gear or help us get a gig or, pay for gas or whatever so we could go somewhere. And when people would always be like, "Oh, you fucking guys, when are you going to give it up?" And we'd always say, "We're just trying to get by." That's the
Yeah,
best excuse for
just trying
everything.
to get by.
Yeah.
Just trying to
It's
get
it's
by.
it's the airtight
Please
excuse.
don't shoot me. I'm only threatening to put gum in your hair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not life threatening.
Yeah.
I mean, it's annoying, but
So, yeah.
it's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
I mean, just give me what you can afford.
Yeah. I'm just saying that if we could do that with dry ice bombs, we could have done that with C4. Like,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying.
It's not hard.
I could have put C4 in your hair, but I only put gum in your hair.
Yeah.
So, I
Exactly.
mean, you should be thanking me.
So I
They should be thanking me.
so I have a really dark, very serious story time with Uncle Alan that I'm not going to share tonight, but it is tangentially related to your comment about mugging. But I'm going to save that for the day that we hit like $100 or something.
Well,
Honestly, you should
I do
really
that.
get into government if you want to do real crimes. No. Uh,
I mean, I do like doing crimes, but I mean, as much as I like crime,
mhm.
I don't want to hurt people. I just want to do crime without hurting
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong.
No. Yeah, I want to be like a renowned thief. But see,
Hmm.
kind of in the same way as our dry ice bomb thing, like I'm not interested in knocking off a bunch of like gas stations for 20 years. I just want to have
No.
like one great jewelry heist and call it a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And then we'll
Or I just want to do some money laundering. I
well,
mean, there's no crime.
funny enough, we had this conversation before actually already too, is that most of the places where you can go and steal any amount of money, you can't steal that much money. Even if you go rob a bank tomorrow, you're going to get like $6,000 and then they're going to kill you.
Yeah. Right.
So,
Right. And you're going to go to federal prison for
yeah.
20 years.
So you're
Yeah.
so you're way better off in terms of just dollar amount value of the heist. You're way better off stealing things.
Robbing armored trucks, knocking off armored trucks. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I was
Those
gonna
guys aren't
say.
trained.
What I was
No, those guys aren't trained. You could knock those guys off fucking That's where the money is. Armored trucks is where the money is.
No, what I was gonna say was
Those guys carry hundreds of thousands of dollars,
what I was gonna.
and they can't fucking shoot for shit.
Okay, but I thought you didn't want to hurt
You
people.
could easily take those
I
fucking
thought you
guys
didn't
out.
want to hurt people.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you could easily put gum in their hair and take their.
No, what I was gonna say is that if you wanna steal a bunch of dollar value amount, you don't steal cash. You steal things that are worth a lot of money. Like you steal diamonds, you steal instruments, you steal things that are worth a lot of money. You go some you know you
Like in Los Angeles in the rail cars where all those people are fucking unloading fucking pallets of fucking cheap TVs.
I mean, they kind of
like
are, but that
Samsung
shit's still
TVs.
not like it's still only worth what it's worth.
It's still petty.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's still petty.
I'm talking about like, like what you do is if you're in a relatively small town, but it has a relatively nice jewelry store, then what you do is you go on the other side of town and you just cause chaos, break a bunch of windows, set shit on fire, and
No,
then
that's still petty.
no,
That's still
you're not.
petty.
You're
I work for
no, you're not listening. You got. Hold on. We got another caller. I gotta add our other caller here. Hold on. I think I messed up by answering instead of merging the call. Shit. All right. Derek, I'm hanging up on you. All right. He heard me. Resume call.
for a truckload of insulin. And
Derek, you have to call back. Okay, there we go. I got him.
What?
Wait, Derek is calling in, so I'm going to add him here really quick. No, what I was going to say is you create a bunch of havoc on the other side of town because you know that if the town's police force is only like 10 or 15 squad cars and they're all rushing to that side of town, then you knock off the jewelry store on the other side of town.
Well, that's what the cartels do. The cartels in Mexico kidnap kids. They take these kids and they throw them over the border fence and they throw them into the river. So it takes all the resources away from the border patrol and the emergency service, the police and everything else to rescue these kids. They threw over the fence. They have broken bones and are drowning in the river. So they could smuggle the drugs across the border, fucking a few miles away. That's fucked up. Up.
No, I understand. That is fucked up.
You guys are still here?
No, you're still here? No, you're still here?
Yeah.
You're still Derek is still alive? Derek is still alive?
Oh yeah, but that last customer was so crazy. I literally took like immediately after that call. Immediately after that.
Shit.
What you mean after or during that call?
After. I had my official talking trash shot glass just sitting there filled all the way up, and I was waiting for it to finally end.
I feel like I need some of those talking trash shot glasses.
Let me look you up. Are you like a supporter? I could probably send one your way. Man, I haven't been to Patreon for a while. Let me look. Oh, I'm 18 or older. Yes. Mm-hmm. Isn't that a great barrier on websites? They're like, are you 18 or older? Yes. Okay. No. Come on in.
I mean, yes.
Legal liability covered,
In hindsight being 2020, I specifically remember being asked like a few thousand times when I was under 18 if I'm 18 or older for a website. And since becoming older than 18, I barely remember more than 5 times being asked.
I always ask if they ID me at the store, and like we're in commie New York, so we wear our stupid mask, and like and I'm like, it looks just like the mask, right? Like, I literally, this was great. I went to my bank where they were kind of, there's a mask mandate. There's not a mandate. Government says, touch your nose. Oh, government didn't say. Like they're doing all that shit. And I had to go to the bank to like change my address or some nonsense like that. And they're like, oh, you have to wear a mask. And I pulled out a ski mask and I put on a full goddamn ski mask at the bank. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I'd like to illustrate stupidity with more stupidity. Well, you guys asked.
Yeah, illustrating stupidity with more stupidity is going to fit right in at the 4th annual It's Too Late live show hosted by yours truly.
Fourth annual.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. It's going to be
Just
great.
so you know, Alan, I'm going to be so drunk that whole fucking time.
I really hope you're not, though, because A, there's going to be children there.
Yeah.
So, you know, within.
But, you know, that's actually the benefit of being like a chronic alcoholic is that, I mean, you can like really just soak yourself in booze and still be functional.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other thing is that I want everyone, because it's not just that day. Like, I'm going to be available in the days leading up to, and then that weekend for whatever. If people are saying, hey, we're going to Waffle House, if people are like, hey, we're in Columbia, where's Ponchos? Alan, what's up? Then I'm going to hang out with everybody as much as everybody wants to hang out, or at least I'm going to try to. I'm going to try my best to basically hang out with everybody the whole time everyone's in town. But
I'm gonna cling to you like a wet rag, Alan.
okay, but that works better if people aren't stoned and or drunk off their ass.
No, I'll be drunk off
he's
my
not
ass.
a patron.
I won't be
Okay.
stoned, but I'll be drunk off my ass.
I was going to
No,
send
but
you a
functionally,
shot glass, but
functionally,
he's not a patron, so.
Oh yeah, no, fuck him. Ryan doesn't need a shot glass though. Ryan, if you've ever watched this stream, you know Ryan just drinks from the bottle pretty heavily. So yeah.
So I mean, that fortune would be kind of lost on me.
Yeah. In 3 minutes and 53 seconds, there's going to be another ad playing, so everyone on Twitch can get ready.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
No, I'm cutting it off.
I'm like doing that Jesus thing where like I'm out of the good stuff and I'm like, oh, I technically have more to drink, but it's not that great. But I could kind of get into it, like where they're like, normally people save the cheap shit for the end of the party, but when you turn water into wine, all right, you know. Except I'm kind of doing the opposite. I'm going to the cheap shit.
Brandy.
Wait, what? What'd you say, Ryan?
Derek has Corbel brandy. He's waiting.
Oh.
That's his late night drink.
No, you know what I got on clearance? Guess what kind of beer would be on clearance this time of year?
Busch Light.
Clearance.
Pumpkin
It's pumpkin
flavored
spice. Yeah, I was about to say
Yeah.
on clearance. Yeah, pumpkin spice.
You know what? My very special lady who is super hot and I love her very much is of darker complexion. But when it comes to pumpkin, she is a white girl. You know, like pumpkin spice, pumpkin coffee, creamer, everything. She's all into that. Yep.
I don't know.
Everyone seems afraid to react to that, huh? Okay.
I mean, I don't give a shit. I've like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of curious what it's like to have like a.
As long as you're not a trucker, because I would call you a racist if you were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what it's like to have a woman in your life.
Oh,
like that.
Ryan,
that's like
on.
Trudeau's only go-to move. Have you tried calling them racist? I've already called them racist. I've called them racist as much as I can. You know.
Now, hold on just a second. I just want to say here that I think both of us. I think this year. I think that by the end of 2022, It's Too Late is going to have reached the point of sustainability that I always wanted, and Ryan is going to have a special someone in his life.
I like
his Fed.
He won't care.
But I'm
if
not
she's a
having
Fed.
any more fucking kids. I'm telling you.
No, yeah, don't.
No, seriously. If I get another chick pregnant,
She'll have to.
I'm moving to Tennessee.
Oh, pro
Oh,
tip:
okay.
get fixed.
I'm gonna
and
move
don't
to
tell the
Florida.
girl.
No, if I get another chick pregnant, I'm moving to Florida, and I'm gonna disavow any fucking relationship whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah, Florida is a good place for that. I could see that. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't take it anymore. I couldn't take any more kids.
Harpoon says, "Where the fuck is this heading? This is where this has been heading all night. Is to talk about Ryan's personal life. That's where we've been heading.
Dude,
Ryan, you need to find that special someone. It doesn't have to require more children. Like me and Annika aren't going to have kids. There's no way.
I already have 3 kids, and there's no way that no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it again.
I mean, I'm
Fair
36 and she's 35, and we have 0 kids, and we're not about to start. So
yeah, dude, there's plenty of humans. We got it covered.
No,
you know?
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, yeah. I see where
Well,
you're. I see where.
I feel for people that feel a pressure, like, because I'm sure it's probably like if you're at your family gathering, and I know Alan, he's just like, I don't like that part of the family, whatever. But there's that pressure from family members who like, so are you considering the kids yet? Oh man, that would bother me so much.
I mean, they're the dearest to my heart. I mean, my kids are. I mean, that's my whole life. My kids are my whole life, but yeah, I mean, I've been married, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Oh, God damn it. You know what the commercial is, Alan? You want to know what it is?
What is it?
What is it? Trojan
Fucking
condoms?
Star Trek Discovery.
Oh,
That's what
Jesus.
it is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And-
that's pretty much the same. as
And guess
birth
what they
control, so.
have
What?
as their headline star? They have someone representing, like you mentioned before, on the Lord of the Rings. Yeah, that's what we got.
Yep.
Yeah, so Star Trek Discovery is pretty much the same as birth control.
That's why we had a
if
horror, though.
If you're gonna
right?
bring a date to your house and you put on some Star Trek Discovery, guarantee there's not going to be any babies made.
The people who are watching the commercials right now are saying, "I'm missing the discussion of Ryan's balls." Yeah, they're missing it. Dude.
Yeah.
They're missing the whole thing because they're watching a commercial. They should be back.
I will tell you,
Oh my God.
there was one version of Star Trek that I'm glad they remade it, and it was in 2009. J.J. Abrams did a Star Trek film, and I actually liked that one.
I could take it or leave it.
No, man, it had the who was the guy on Shaun of the Dead? And he was Scotty on the ship. Yeah. Like he was great.
Simon Pegg.
I don't know. I'm sort of sentimental when it comes to TV. So I always love the stuff where like Leonard Nimoy passes the torch to the new generation. Like it's kind of sweet. I did like that.
I specifically hated that most about it.
Of course.
Because it's hokey and contrived that they can't just make something new and it stand on its own. They have to stand on the shoulders of giants because they know that what they are making isn't good enough.
Well, that's where I disagree. I think they were clear about that it is a reboot and it's an alternate timeline. Like I think they went down that path, and because see, here's the other side of that coin is sequels always suck, right? Because we want them to be the same as the original, but if they are the same as the original, we're going to complain because it's too much the same as the original. So we want the same thing, but not the same thing, and we don't know what they want, and that's why sequels are to make money, ultimately, not to make inspired scripture. And so I admire that because like how many friggin' Spider-Man movies do we need, right? like that thing's been remade so many times. And I actually give like just sort of what you would call in the old days extra credit points for at least trying to do a new kind of story, because everything else on the planet is so unoriginal that if someone even tries to make it a new thing, I'm kind of like, okay, there's an extra credit point for you. Like that, my bar is low, if that makes sense. But yeah,
my bar is also very low. I mean, pretty much.
See, my bar is really, really high. But in my defense, there's a lot out there. If I don't need to hope that one franchise gets rebooted, remade, or sequeled properly, because there's plenty of other things I can go watch. Like I would err on the side of I'd prefer to watch something that's completely different and unique rather than it's way more the exception than the rule to have multiple pieces of art coming out of the same universe or franchise and continue to be good or even better. And so when they take something and they run it into the ground, I don't sit take Star Wars, for instance. I know that there's a lot of people in the Star Wars community that are just crossing all their fingers and toes, hoping that, oh, Disney's going to do it all over again. They're going to retcon that bullshit that was that trilogy, and they're going to start over, and this time they're going to do it right. First of all, those people are naive, unlike anything to be believed. And second of all, I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, Return of the Jedi is the last movie, and I've washed my hands of it. I don't need them to come back and make a better Star Wars. I'll just move on to other things to watch.
Harpoon IPA says some of you guys would be interested in the W that Does Dallas reboot.
Yeah,
I would definitely be interested in that, in the remake of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna try to film that live June 4th.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice. So who's gonna be my deputy?
I mean, I've got all this like amazing audio, videos, and lights and shit. I mean, we could do some pretty great videos.
So who's gonna be my Debbie though? So I mean, Mary is obviously married. Celeste is married. Sherry.
You're goddamn right. So
we got Sherry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I feel like me and Sherry are gonna do a Debbie Dallas remake.
How far is Dallas from Nashville? Isn't that like 14 hours or something like that? 17 hours.
It's a good distance.
Yeah, it's very far. People forget how big Texas is.
So you got to tell Sherry to dye her hair blonde so we can do a Debbie and Dallas remake at your at your live stream.
I'll pitch that buyer and
make sure to pass it along for me.
I'll
I'm sure it'll go along good.
Yeah.
She'll go along for it.
I mean, if it were just me, and far be it for me to tell you what to do, but if it were me, I would be looking for girls that are somewhere between like 18 and 24 and not, like,
I have a question for like everyone, audience.
Well,
and
everything. I'll take it into consideration, but I mean, I can't guarantee that, I'll take your advice.
What's your question, Derek?
How do people meet people nowadays? Like, does everyone go through the app, or like, do you have to meet people in real life? And if you meet people in real life, you kind of don't want to meet people like at the bar because, you're at a different level. Maybe meet someone at the library.
Well,
like,
how did you
meet people?
How did you meet your girlfriend?
So what I do is I try, just like gently mugging women on the street.
That's your first error. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
And I don't know why I can't get any dates.
Well,
you have to do the opposite. You got to get them to come to you. You're like, hey, baby, want to see my credit score?
That's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, to try
I
to
could
get
give you alimony.
Yeah. I mean, usually they just shoot me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to get women to walk into a mug.
Okay. Well, we'll go around.
Usually you have to, initiate the mugging.
So okay, we'll go around the room and answer Ryan's question. So, but with real world experience.
Chloroform.
Yeah, Harpoons uses chloroform. So real world experience.
There's
Derek,
a great chat comment.
Derek, how did you meet your girlfriend?
I used to work with her.
Okay, so she was a coworker.
Oh yeah,
okay.
She was a nice coworker. I was like, all right.
Okay, okay, so Ryan, there's one option: office romance.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Because if we're being honest, do you care more about your job or like going with a really hot chick? Because I'm gonna pick the chick, honestly.
Depends on how much money you have.
How did I meet you story for my ex-wife that I had 2 kids with?
Mm-hmm.
How did I meet her?
Yeah.
I hit her with my car.
Wow, you hit her or you hit her car?
Oh, it's like Back to the Future.
With my car when she was walking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I can't imagine
What
how
were
that.
you
Just
doing
very
anyway,
just very
George?
gently though. It was a gentle nudge. It was a gentle.
All
I
right,
know it's all.
so Ryan,
Stella!
yeah, so
I'm gonna
Ryan,
let
I
these
was
damn kids jumped in front of my car.
Ryan, I was gonna
Mhm.
have everyone else answer the question to give you some ideas of where you could meet your next lady. So
I
Derek,
see where you're
so
going.
Derek's suggestion is office romance.
Mhm.
Not generally. Like, it's got to be a good one
Mhm.
because, that can lead in a bad direction as well, right?
Well, it depends on
Mhm.
you said yourself. It depends on your priorities. So there you go. Fact check this podcast says I met my wife on Tinder. So there are people on Tinder who are genuinely looking for real connections and not just, you know, those connections.
Oh, chloroform at the laundromat. That's our recommendation.
Um,
Okay.
if David, that's actually going to be a question I'm going to have for Dave and Mary on Monday. So the Monday night stream is going to be a special Valentine's Day stream with Dave and Mary and me and Annika. So if
Oh, I got to do one of those too. I forgot.
so I'm gonna wait to ask them this question of how they got together and whatever. But I know they knew each other for a long time.
Yeah, it was like the family reunion or something.
Yeah, they're cousins. Yeah, for sure. Um, and so for me and
Sorry,
Annika,
guys, that was a bad joke.
so me and Annika, we are from the same town. We went to the same high school. So when she was a freshman and I was a sophomore is when we first met. But we weren't together in school. Like
Mhm.
that wasn't a thing. Um, we
Did you know of each other or did you interact
no
a
we
lot?
no we met when she was a freshman. I just said that. So when she was a freshman and I was a sophomore is when we first met in high school. But we didn't get together in high school. We weren't romantically involved, and it was then after like after my sophomore year in college and her freshman year in college, like coming back to town during the summer is when we first like went on a date, like pursuing
Would you
something.
say you were into each other back then or just not
No,
even?
I wouldn't. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, high school is different than adult life. So she was in
Oh,
a
yeah.
class under mine. So we had no classes together. When she was a freshman, I was a sophomore. We were 1 year apart. We never had any classes together. We weren't even in the same like wings of the building at the same times of the day. So it's not like we're hanging out and getting to know each other and all that stuff. Totally different, circles of friends. Um,
I think that's a lot healthier. That's what I was going to say. Because, like, if it's like, oh, I was really into her back in school, that's what we call a rebound, right?
no, yeah,
But if
yeah.
it's like what you're talking about, it's like, yeah, we kind of knew each other, but the time wasn't right. Like, okay,
So
like
after
that's more of a, yeah.
Yeah, so after my sophomore year at college at Maryville, which because it was after that year that I dropped out of college and opened the printing business like a year later, and then after her freshman year of college is when we first like went on some dates, like we were actually getting to know each other personally and romantically and all that, and so that would have been 2006, 2007, and then
Back in the Audis.
yeah, and then uh I opened the printing business. She was in school at Samford. And then when she finished school, came back to Tennessee and was working here. And so this would have been more like 2009 or so, 2008, 2009, 2010 is when we first like got together. Like we're an item officially. And yeah, so Harpoon says she's been with you that long, no fucking way. Yeah, we've actually been together ever since then. So we've been together like 10, 12 years or something. We've been together that long. So we technically met in high school because we were from the same town and went to the same school, but we didn't get together romantically until some years after that.
Yep.
But now we've been together So I mean, basically from a roughly somewhere in the area of like 2009 to today. We've been together a long ass time.
So why do you think it works, if you don't mind my asking? Like what are the positive bonds as you would describe them?
Well, so hold on, because Ryan's leaving. So I was gonna tell Ryan. So the point I told
He
that
is?
whole story is that get a time machine, go back to when you're like 19, and then start over. That's how you do it.
I wish if I could give anything to start over. Fuck yeah.
All right.
I would
I
just
would
kill
give
my
any-
past self.
Just go back.
Look at me.
I made so
I
many
am the Derek
mistakes,
now.
you know, and yeah. I mean, I'm gonna go cry now, Alan.
All right. Well, I don't want you to do that. I was trying to trying to lead by example here. Yeah, Captain No Ship says
Yeah.
Jesus effing Christ, Derek.
You like that? That's from the inner darkness that I carry in here
the inner
every day.
darkness.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I could go back to the day when I hit my ex-wife with my car, then
But would you swerve to avoid her or just drive straight through her?
But I gotta tell you, anyone that has kids, that's your dividing line where you can't time travel before that, because my kids are awesome.
That's the fucked up thing about it is you can't go back and alter time
Yep.
though, because I mean,
I
my
mean, you've
kids are,
seen them.
my
Like I've
whole
had my
life. So
kids on my. Yeah.
if I was to try to go back and I was to try to change mistakes I made through our marriage or even like through, you know, when we met, then they would have never been born. You know, so it's like a yin and yang kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know,
I am
it's like you can try to fix shit, but then you're just gonna fuck up other shit.
like I am so happy that we don't have kids. Like like and that's me saying that as in, I mean, as I just said, we've been together such a long time. We're really solid, but despite so it's not even like it's a tenuous thing. I'm really happy that despite the fact that we've been together as long as we have, that we don't have kids, because I've explained this before. I have respect for people who started families, who, you know, who had an idea in mind of this is, you know, this is how I want to raise my kids. You know, I want to do things the right way. I want them to be good people. I want them to have a better life than I had. And it takes sacrifice and it takes work and all those things. I respect that enough to know, like, me and Annika don't need to do that. Me and Annika both enjoy our lives together. We both have things we really want to do with our lives. I mean, you know, look around the fucking room I'm in, right? Like, if Annika called me right now and said, "Oh my God, I'm pregnant," this shit's gone. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go back to a cubicle somewhere and hate my fucking life. But I would do it because I'm doing it for them.
Oh, that's my job.
Yeah. But I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it like, oh, that's just, you know, I don't mean to say it is that's like a runner-up prize. I mean to say it as I would be because I would be living for them, as opposed to right now I'm
You know
only
what
living
keeps me going?
for Annika, and that's it.
For me, I'm like,
It's
on one
funny you
hand, I'm
say
like,
that, Alan, because that's where I am in my life. Like you said, if Annika came back to you and said, "Oh, okay, I'm pregnant," so you'd go work in a cubicle for, you know, the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm all the way past that.
You're on the other
To
side.
the point where that's what I've done with my whole life.
Yeah,
Just worked in a cubicle my whole life for my kids.
but your kids are getting older and you're still a young man. You have to be thinking about what's the next chapter.
Mm-hmm. That's where that is exactly the crossroads that I'm at right now.
oh, I know. The next chapter is death.
No, that he's not. I said he's still a young man. I didn't say Ryan's not 86.
No, the next chapter is not that. The next chapter is it's life again. Because when you have, you know, and not to sound bad, and you know, but when you have kids, life as you know it is over, because your life is now your kid's life. you know, and everything you do, you know, like I've been an accountant my whole life, and that's what I've done my whole life, and I fucking hate it. I mean, but I do it anyways because it pays good, and I have to make money for my kids, and I have to put, you know, my son needs to wear Nikes, you know, all Nike shit. My daughter has to have all pink and all, you know, fucking Prada and all this shit, you know, all this shit. I have to pay all this fucking money for all this shit. And now, you know, they're fucking grown and they have to make their own life and they're making their own money. And I'm like at a crossroads where, you know, it's like, I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to work in that fucking cubicle anymore and try to make, you know, $30 an hour or $80,000 a year or whatever, you know, and make all this money so I can just I can go work at fucking wherever and make, you know, $30,000 a year just to fucking supply my RC car habit and give Alan fucking $20 a week. And, you know, just fucking.
Well,
I'm sorry. I don't mean to rant.
No,
but you know, I mean, I've had a hard. I mean,
no, I mean, I understand.
I'm not going to say people have had a lot harder life. You know, I can't say that I've had a hard life.
I mean, Annika.
I mean, everybody has their own fucking deal, you know.
Yeah, Annika and I are very much on the same page that because it'll tie in a little bit to what Derek had asked of like how do you make it work? Is that so again we don't have kids.
How do you make it work? Is you work your fucking ass off and you fucking hate your life.
Well, no. I'm talking about how do me and Annika make it work, not how you made it work.
Okay.
Because you're not, you didn't make.
I'm just talking about myself.
No, because you're not making it work. You made it work. You already did it. You did the thing. You're not trying to figure out how to do that. You're trying to figure out how to move on to the next thing.
I'm trying to figure out how to get the fuck out of that and move on. Yeah.
Yeah. So to answer his question is that. So again, since we don't have kids, that's obviously a huge amount of freedom right there and lack of expense. But Annika and I both, we share, for even though we obviously clearly look very different and personality wise, we're very different. We also share a lot of things in common. Neither of us have really expensive tastes. Like we're not going out and eating steak dinners all the time and driving fancy cars. And, you know, we don't have to have the latest phone. And like neither of us are
2-ply toilet paper.
Yeah, neither of us toilet paper. You just stand up and wipe with Ryan. But neither of us have very expensive tastes. Neither of us are the type of the type of like career professional types that like I want to make it to the top of my company and whatever. Neither of us feel that way. Both of us want to make the amount of money that it would require for us within our lifestyle to live comfortably. And when that lifestyle is as modest as ours and in a relatively small home with no little kids running around, that's a pretty low bar. And the money that we make,
and that's exactly where I am.
And the money that we make in excess is that then allows us to do the things we want to do. Like Annika is an incredibly compassionate and kind person who she's always giving of herself to others. Like, I mean, this is the girl that, you know, she had a lot of friends growing up and in church and in school and everywhere she's ever lived. So she has personally like bought the most expensive thing on the bridal registry or baby registry for like 180 of her girlfriends growing up. She's the person who's always, someone had a kid. Someone had a medical emergency or whatever. She's always putting together gift baskets and going to personally hand deliver them and shit like that. She really wants to save the world in her own way, and I admire it terribly. But on a selfish level, she just likes to travel a little bit, likes to go to Florida. Like again, we're not going to the fucking Caymans or anything, right? Like we're not going to Fiji. We're just going around the country a little bit, enjoying some nice weather, go to the beach every now and then. And that's it. That's all she wants.
And that's all I'm talking about. Exactly, Alan. That's all I'm talking about. You know, I mean, at this point in my life, I've done that. I fucking worked my fucking ass off. And at this point, all I want to do is to go to Alan's live stream and troll Alan.
You just want to come in here and every Wednesday night at 9. I'll get another chair so you can sit over there and just watch the show. I'll get you a little
Yeah.
monitor so you can see Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that for you,
See?
man. We're gonna
Yeah,
do it June 4th.
I mean, is that really too much to ask?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not.
for a man in his waning years.
I mean, so that's Anike, and then for me, I mean, obviously I do this. I've owned a business before. I've worked for a nonprofit before. I mean, I sort of kind of have a couple of different side hustles now that I didn't even have a few months ago, for that matter. But for me, the things I do is just, it's not to fund this hobby, because this isn't a fucking hobby for me. This is what I want to do. I want to make this into a hustle all of its own. But I do this because I reached the point. So I basically spent my whole 20s running a printing company. And I was working fucking 60, 70-hour weeks, busting my ass to get that company going. And it was hard. And I could do it because I was in my 20s and I was full of life. And I was like, fuck it, I don't need sleep. I'll just get the next order done, get the next order done, get the next order done. But when I came out of it on the other side, I experienced some really hardcore burnout at a relatively young age. Like around the time I was 28, 29 years old, or about to hit 30, I was like, Jesus Christ. Like my whole 20s, like all my friends in their 20s were taking all these pictures of all these places around the world they went to and having parties and stuff. In my 20s, I was fucking binding up coil-bound books and printing shit. That's what I was doing my whole 20s. And then around the time I got to, of course, Annika and I lived in Orlando for a few years, and I worked for another printer there, which is when I cut my fingers off. But the point being is that I really got burnt out on that line of work. And I had made the decision then, because I love doing this. I was on a radio program for a couple of years back in Tennessee. And I had decided, like, I can do this. Like, I have the ability and the knowledge to talk about these things and do a show. And so, and I've had this conversation with Annika, is that I'm at an age, we don't have kids, our cost of living's really low. I'm at an age where, and I can make enough money on the side just doing work for people that I can give this a real shot, and I can take some years to make this happen. And if it doesn't happen, then fuck it, we'll move on. But since we both share that commonality of we don't have to go out to eat all the time and eat at expensive places, if it wasn't for fucking COVID, I'm sure we would have taken another trip or two somewhere along the way. But us just taking like little week or weekend getaways every now and then, like that's perfectly good for us. And I mean, we'll have our honeymoon when we finally do get married, and that'll be another little trip. But that's good enough for us, man. It really is. I consider myself so lucky that I'm with someone who is so incredibly kind and compassionate and understanding, and that we complement each other because we understand each other in a lot of ways that you just don't get without being there. We know when each other is kind of in a rough spot, and that it takes a little digging out sometimes to get out of that existential dread every now and then. But we help each other do that.
We're super lucky, just like Dave is. I mean,
yeah.
Anna Kay is a complete sweetheart, just like Mary is. I mean, just the best women.
Yeah. So I'm
totally blessed.
I'm very confident that if in my wildest fucking dreams I get to the point where I'm making fucking $30,000 a year between my show and a couple of side hustles, and Anna Kay is making whatever the fuck she makes as a glorified admin assistant and events coordinator for the company she works for, and she's working from home still, as a matter of fact, but that's enough for us. Like for us to be if for us as a household to be pulling in like $60,000-$70,000, but we don't have any kids and we live in a modest house and don't go out a lot, that's a lot of fucking money. And we live here. I don't live in fucking New York, right? I live in Columbia, Tennessee.
Especially especially out in fucking bumfuck Tennessee, $80,000 a year is a lot of money. I mean, $80,000. I mean, I made close to $80,000 in Green Bay, Wisconsin, with 2 kids, having them most of the time, and I lived comfortably. I had a nice house, never had problem putting food on the table. Never had a problem with Christmas presents, birthday presents, you know, buying kids little trinkets here and there, you know, or whatever. I mean, you can live for $80,000. You can live a pretty comfortable life.
So,
I mean, in, you know, like Midwest America, in medium small towns, you can make a decent living with that.
the only thing I would say as an addendum to any of that is, um, if this really takes off the way I hope it does, and we're making more money, if she's making more money, if I'm making more money, and it doesn't mean we're raising a family, by the way, it just means we're just doing better in general. I know that she really loves Florida. I can live with Florida. I mean, of course, the weather's nice, but I prefer Tennessee culture more. But she really likes Florida because she likes to be near the beach and near Disney and all that kind of shit. But that's okay. Like if that's all she wants in life going forward is to get back there, then fuck it, we'll get back there. So the one greater expense I would make is to get us back to Florida where we were for a time. If this program reached the point where we were comfortably producing content that people really enjoyed, and we were living in basically the same kind of circumstances here, but it was, you know, somewhere near like where the Meharries are down near Tarpon Springs, dude, it would be bliss to me. Like why do I need to dream about, you know, yachts and private jets and getaways? I would already be living in heaven. I don't want anything else.
So I think you may have hit an award-winning record. And so here's what I want to know. The amount of time that you've been together, but not married, has that actually exceeded 12 years?
If it hasn't, it's got to be pretty close. We've been together a long time.
That's the record. I have one trusted family member. He was my legendary hero. He was with this girl for so long and they never got married. And then 12 years was the limit. That's as far as it could go. And then he got married and he kind of lost my faith in humanity at that point. So I'm just wondering, as far as 12 years, have you reached that mark? Because you could be the new hero, the chosen one.
It's hard for me to recall, actually. It's one of those things where it's like we weren't really like tracking anniversaries because neither of us were that kind of person. It's not like it was me being a shitty husband or anything. She doesn't really care so much either. Like, it's nice to have a day, just to have a special day, just to have an excuse to do something. But I couldn't even tell you right now for certain what our anniversary is. But we got together somewhere in the area of maybe 2010 or 11, and it's 2022 now. So if it's not 12 years, it's coming up on that long. Because I
don't think it's possible to last longer than 12 without getting married.
Do what, Ryan?
So you and Anna Kay don't have any plans of having kids?
No.
Really?
None.
Hell yeah! All right,
just do it.
Just have kids. Just have them. Yeah.
Just do it. I mean, just one.
No. No, this would all go away. I couldn't do what I do.
One. I mean, seriously, you don't have any curiosity to see what your kid would look like?
I mean, that's
what killed me the first time. Like with so I had a girlfriend when I'll find it for you. I'll show you.
But, I know who this is going to be. All right.
But that was killing me with my oldest. My oldest is with another woman. My son and my son and my daughter. My youngest daughter and my oldest son is from my ex-wife, and then I have another one from another woman. And it was just like, just curiosity of what would this kid look like?
It makes evolutionary sense, though, that people literally can't handle the possibility of not having kids, right? I mean, obviously, a successful species would, possess the ability to reproduce. So, yeah,
Mhm.
that's the thing.
So I
In me,
was in my
though-
early 20s.
Here,
Yeah,
I
and she
found it.
was, in her early 20s, and it was like, okay.
You
Here
can
we go. Let's see
you
it.
can still see my screen, can't you, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure. I mean, yeah, Derek already knows. But, I'll still pull it up just for you. I can already tell you what me and Anna Kay's kid would look like.
No, it's not even going to be close.
No, it's
Because,
it's going to
well,
be
I
very
don't know.
close.
Unless you're both blue-eyed, blue hair. Oh,
That's what our
nice.
kid would look like.
Oh, I'd fuck her.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Hell yeah, you would.
That's good to know.
I haven't even seen. Oh yeah. Oh, I used to have that at my desk at work.
Yeah, same. I got that pinned up on my headboard at.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me.
Oh
Remove,
my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Mhm.
I'm gonna remove that so Anna Kay won't be like, Why do you have pictures of Nora Jones on your show? It's weird."
Yeah,
That is not
I have-
weird.
yeah.
That is
That's
what a
like
true
something I
American
taped
does.
a piece of cardboard on my flashlight.
Well, I mean, she would think it was weird if I had that, but
I mean, that is a picture right there. Am I
Mhm.
right? Like that was. Yep.
But we feel like that's totally normal.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good picture. That brings back memories. I had that at
Mhm.
my desk in like a full page, pin up.
I mean, I'm sorry, Alan. Yeah, just forget about it. That's a beautiful girl, Alan.
Well, I mean, you
Forget
Fuck
about
yeah.
it. Forget about everything that I just said.
I mean, you don't
It's
have to
a
convince
beautiful
me.
young
It's just
lady that
Nora
you have
Jones. I
there.
don't give a shit. I don't care about Nora Jones. It's not like she's my daughter.
What?
Nora Jones is older than me, so
She probably doesn't even
So?
look like that anymore. She's probably all wrinkly.
She's like,
Fucking
hey,
old now.
shut up. She's like
Yeah.
my age and she's awesome.
yeah, she's like Derek's
Oh, yeah.
age, all
Yeah.
wrinkly and old, and
Like my girl would get it. If it's like, okay, Nora Jones said you could fuck her. I get it. Like that's a mutual thing for us. Yeah.
Mhm.
see, I wouldn't know
In my mind.
because
And that's what I told my ex-wife. I'm like, hey, if Charlie Sheen wants to give you AIDS, then God bless you.
you still tell her
Let's go
that to
do-
this day, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Oh my God, Ryan. Well, on that note, we got to start wrapping this thing up. We've been on for 3.5 hours, and the people
Yep.
who are still here in chat, bless them for having stuck out this
Yeah.
long. But they're thinking.
It's pretty much only Harpoon IPA. And
Someone said
I'm
in
happy.
chat, "Where the hell is this going?" Like an hour ago. So
I made it
now
through
they
my
got their
work day,
answers.
so
Nowhere.
this is my happy time. So thanks, guys.
yeah.
Thanks, Derek.
I mean, I'm not gonna just jump off right away. You know the drill. We gotta play the slow jazz, and then I gotta ask Derek. Derek, you got a final thought?
My final thought is that watching The Boys was a worthwhile endeavor.
Okay.
It was a good series. Yeah.
Season 3 is coming out right before our June 4th event.
All right.
It's like that
that's
Friday. It's
awesome.
coming out. Yeah.
Yep.
Ryan, do you have a final thought?
My final thought is, if you have any intention to watch the new Amazon Lord of the Rings series,
Mhm.
just fucking go for a walk instead.
Yeah. Let's go for a walk.
Yeah.
I think
Honestly, the regular Lord of the Rings movies, I would kind of prefer death. So yeah.
I think my final thought is that I don't really need to fantasize about Nora Jones because I have a full-blooded one like here.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Mhm.
But if we had a daughter, I'm sure she'd. Here's the thing: if we had a daughter, and it was going to be Nora Jones, you better believe when that kid turns like 3, I'm going to shove it in front of a piano and say, "Fucking learn."
Yeah.
She's got to pay our bills
That's
for
what you got
us.
to do.
Yeah.
That's what that's what they got to do. You know,
Not a major scale. You got to learn that blues scale,
Stop.
and you get to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop peeing in your pants. and
Why
get on
even
that
why
piano.
even play music if you're not going to play jazz? Like, what's the point?
Oh, dude,
See,
Dad,
Alan.
Charlie
I'm
Brown
just gonna
Christmas.
I'm just gonna call Alan out on his lack of parentship. See, he thinks he's just gonna shove his daughter in front of the piano and say, "Play the piano."
Mm-hmm.
But a real dad would know that you're just lucky to not get your daughter to pee in her pants all the time.
Oh, so I thought you were going to end up saying is that no, what the trick is you tell them you can't play piano, not in my house. I don't ever want to see you playing piano, and then they'll want to do it.
And that
then they'll
does
be the
work.
next Vince
and that
Giraldi.
does work.
Yeah.
And that does work. But you have to stop them
gonna-
from peeing in their pants.
Gonna take a quick look in chat. Harpoon IPA will Ghislaine Maxwell spill the beans? No. Check out Samantha Fish, great music. Okay, I will. There's a season 2. Yeah, they already had a season 2 of The Boys. Season 3 comes out like June 3rd or something like that. Fact check this podcast.
I gotta tell you though,
Wait.
the Charlie Brown Christmas Vince Giraldi trio
Yes.
is like, I listened to that in July.
Mhm.
Like, that is just, it's a goddamn excellent record. I don't care what time of year it is. Amazing. Yep.
Fact check this podcast. No, what am I going to do with the next 6 hours of my shift? Just quit your job. Boom.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
should have
did.
done that today.
I'm a strong believer in equality, and everyone should make the same amount of money I do. And the only way that's going to work is you all are going to have to quit your jobs. So let's get on that.
What I do is I quit my job and I say that there's not enough equality on the floor.
Fact check this says totally
You said the
would.
J word.
Totally would about sleeping with Nora Jones. And also, you can borrow my kids for a weekend. If you give me your kids for a weekend, you're going to have to go find them on the black market, because I bet I can sell them.
Yeah.
Sell them for a good amount.
So you can find your kids on Alan's Dead Baby Flea Market.
Yeah, no. I don't deal in live children. I deal only in dead babies at the flea market now.
But
Oh,
Alan,
Not,
you do
not
know.
live children. No, those. Yeah, you got to stop.
Real quick, because we're running out. Harpoon says, "How can we buy you a new chair if we all quit our jobs?" Well, okay, hit the donation tracker up to $175.58 and then quit your job. That's where we're at.
Yeah. So before
But Alan,
you run out of
you
money,
do know that Nora
so
came
before
out
you
with
run
a
out of money
Christmas
after-
record, right?
Yeah.